Press pause, put the controller down. It's time to talk about the gaming industry. My name is TJ Leo,
And I am Andrew, once again filling in for Bailstorm.
and this is episode 6 of Press Pause, a gaming podcast. Yes, Andrew is back. Bailstorm was under the weather, so Andrew's filling in once again. How have you
Hello.
been?
Good.
Last
How
2
about
weeks?
you? How'd your birthday celebration go?
That's right. Yeah, It's been such a busy day that completely didn't even, didn't even register in my brain. Yeah, it was good. Had the family over for we played cornhole in the backyard.
Oh yeah.
Had dinner, ate some cake, had some presents. It was fun. It was good.
Do you think because now that you're 37 that you're gonna get psychic powers like John Travolta did in Phenomenon?
No, I think I'm just gonna have a midlife crisis.
Well, it didn't happen to me either. So
There you go. Yeah,
neither of us have brain cancer.
I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through that. That would be not fun.
Yeah.
But what you been up to for 2 weeks, I guess, right?
Not a whole lot. I've been. I guess this kind of leads into what we've been playing, but I've just been finishing up Dark Souls 3,
Nice.
and that's pretty much it.
That's the only Souls game I tried.
Oh yeah, okay. So how far did you get in it?
I beat the tutorial in the opening level.
Okay, so not very far.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I remember getting through a village of some kind. It's vague.
Oh, Undead Settlement.
Yeah.
Was it behind a big portcullis, and there were dudes with pitchforks?
Yes.
Yeah, Undead Settlement. Yeah, that area is tricky. Most of the areas are tricky, but I mean that's the game.
I think I remember getting to like a tree boss or something.
Yep. First Rotted Greatwood.
Yeah, I think I faced him once, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm done."
Yeah, that one's a pain. But it is surmountable once once you figure out like, oh, this is how the hand that comes out of it is going to behave.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we talked about it on our Elden Ring episode.
Yeah,
but
we went way into
Souls,
it.
I'm just not a Souls guy. I loved Elden Ring to death. Trust me, I absolutely loved it. But I think we talked a lot about how it's not perfect. There's a lot of
no. I mean, we talked Elden Ring to death, and I love Dark Souls 3. I played the DLC to completion, which I'd never done before. It's not as good.
No?
It's not as good. Ashes of Ariandel, which is the first DLC, disappoints me because it's just a snowy mountain. And the thing that I love about those games most of all is the environments, which are amazing. And Ashes of Ariandel is just a snowy mountain, which is not really all that inventive.
Nothing special.
Yeah. And what really gets me is that there was a snowy mountain in the game that they could have set it on. There's a location, because you didn't get this far, this isn't going to mean anything to you, but there's a place called Archdragon Peak in the game, which is a temple on top of a mountain where people worship dragons. And from that mountaintop, you can see another nearby mountaintop, and there's a dead dragon on it that's covering like half the mountain. It's a big dragon.
That's cool.
And it would have been a really cool twist if you're playing Ashes of Ariandel and you realize, like, wait a minute, I'm on a tail. That's a wing over there. Oh my god, I'm on the frozen corpse of this giant dead dragon. That's what the whole environment is. Wouldn't that have been cool? No, it's just a regular mountain.
It's just a snowy place.
Yeah, and the Ringed City, which is the second DLC,
right,
has a much better environment. They kind of, it almost feels like they were saving up for this one, because it's like, what if we took a bunch of different environments, bunch of different towns, castles, just all sorts of different places, smushed them together, like physically smushed them together like a bunch of Lego sets just crashing into one another, and just twisted them and froze them in time. Because that's what the environment is, and it's awesome. But
I was going to say, because I remember your tweet.
It is fucking crazy how unbalanced it is. And it feels like the beginning of a lot of the stuff I complained about in Elden
In Elden
Ring.
Ring, yeah.
And I mean, I'm not gonna go into great detail about it, but there's a boss fight in there that is a cool idea on paper, but in practice is a terrible idea. Where a player, like another player online, takes the role of the boss, which sounds cool until you kind of take into account the fact that the whole point of boss fights in these games is that you have a boss with an established pattern that you need to learn in order to beat it.
Right.
But if it's a different player every time, because they're
no
not
pattern.
taking control of a single boss, they are just invading with a bigger health bar than normal.
Right.
So it's effectively a different boss fight every time.
Yes,
Completely,
you can't get better at it.
yeah, it completely goes against the whole premise. Now,
Yeah.
if you're playing offline or the game can't find another player, there is a default boss that they have.
Oh, okay.
But the problem with that is that default boss summons two minions during that fight who also have massive health bars, and it's a completely unfair fight unless you summon somebody, which you can't do if you're offline. There
right. What's the
is
point?
an NPC summon, but only if you've done a side quest for that character, which is
Mhm.
easily missable.
Yeah, and
So-
we all know how the multiple boss, units goes.
Yeah,
We talked about that during that episode as well.
it's
Unfair. The game's
Yeah.
not designed for you to face more than one, maybe two.
it's just not.
It's just not designed that
Yeah.
way.
So the DLC definitely doesn't live up to the standards set by the base game,
Gotcha.
but I mean the base game is. I mean you can ignore the DLC, and the base game is great. So
Yeah.
I, for the most part, enjoyed going back through that
Cool.
and playing it to completion again.
I haven't played anything substantial, like a full game. I've kind of just been like popping around a little bit. I've basically given up on Valhalla by this point. It's just
Oh yeah, it's just dragged on too much.
it's too long. It's too long.
Yeah.
I gotta move on from it. So, I played 4 different things this past week.
Okay.
The first of which is a demo for Rise of the Ronin, which is
okay. I've heard of that.
Yeah, I think it's Team Ninja's kind of Souls, kind of Assassin's Creed game. And it's a substantial demo. Like I kind of felt like I stopped playing it at a certain point where I was like, is this a full game?
You didn't want to spoil stuff. Do you know if progress will carry over from the demo to the full game?
It might, yeah, because
I love when they do that.
Yeah, it's one of those demos that has like the purchase full game now option in the main menu. So
Okay.
I would imagine that's probably the case.
Man, shades of shareware.
Yeah, exactly.
Register the game.
Yeah. Weird game. I'm not. I can't pinpoint it, and I think that's why it hasn't been doing like amazingly. Is it to describe it to somebody? There's no like one game to point to where if it's like, if you like this, you're gonna like this. It's really like an amalgamation of like Ninja Gaiden meets Assassin's Creed meets a Souls game.
That doesn't sound too bad. As long as they take the best parts.
It's just strange.
Okay.
It's just strange because like in terms of a Souls game, it's got that difficulty, and it's got those like you get to the checkpoint, but if you rest there, then all the enemies come back.
Sure.
That kind of a thing. And that's how you level up as well. Very Souls-like.
Right.
But it has difficulty settings.
Okay.
Which is not like a Souls game.
No.
It's got the combat of like a Ninja Gaiden.
Okay.
Type game, and then it's got like sort of the open world of like Assassin's Creed and like some of the verticality and the scaling and stuff like that. So the way that I came out of it was thinking like it's good, but it's one of those games to me where it's a jack of all trades, master of none.
They're trying to have it all ways, and they're not really settling on a
unique
none
identity. None of them came across as like this is like top tier, best in class type stuff.
Right.
It was all like they were all kind of in like the this is good range,
Okay.
So
well, I mean, sometimes a game just being good is enough. Sometimes.
Yeah, it's not a bad game by any stretch. It's just it's like a Frankenstein
Yeah,
of games.
yeah.
Um, I would need more time with it. The one thing I would say it's not good. Actually, two things are not good in it. Number
Okay.
one, visually, it's
Oh,
not
okay.
good. It's got that like B tier type of visual style where
Yeah.
like it's not very pretty. And then the acting is terrible,
Oh,
absolutely
okay.
atrocious. And the diet, and there's some scenes that just awkwardly end. It's clear that this was
Mm,
written in Japanese and then translated, and the translation was like minimum effort. You know what
yeah.
I mean? It's not
Yeah.
like it's not all your base belong to us type
No,
level
it's not. Of
bad.
course not.
Um,
No,
but
but
it's
it's not like Final Fantasy 12 where they really go above and beyond with the
yeah, they didn't.
translation.
Yeah, they didn't just translate it and then put their spin on it. They kind of just translated it and then made it sound
Just kind of
fine.
left it like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, it's fine. I don't. If it goes on sale to the point where it's like a 70% off kind of deal, I'd probably pick it
Okay.
up. But otherwise,
Yeah. A solid fine. Yeah.
solid
I
fine.
mean,
Yeah,
it's better than a failure,
yeah,
right?
and it's got gear too, so you got to like level up gear and
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's such like I said, it's got so many things mashed together that it's just
Yeah, just an
cool
amalgamation of what's
upgrades.
popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also played the open beta for Valorant. Came out on consoles.
Oh, okay.
I tried that out because I've never been able to play it on my PC because it doesn't run on my PC at more than like 15 frames per second.
Sure.
And I really wanted to play that because I used to love Overwatch. I like Paladins. I like those kind of shooters. And when I started playing it, I was like, "Holy shit, this is complicated." In comparison, it's kind of like or Overstrike. That's what they should have called it. It's Overwatch meets Counter Strike.
Mm.
It's really
Okay.
weird. It's got like the heroes that you pick from that have their specific weaponry and their specific ultimates and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you also have a shop that you buy your weapons from at the beginning of each
Like Counter
round,
Strike.
like
Yeah.
Counter Strike. And it's not like a respawn thing like Overwatch. It's you get one life
Yeah,
per round.
I noticed you brought that up on Twitter,
Hmm.
and you said you liked that. I thought, oh man, I'm going to bring this up on the podcast. I hate that. That
The one life per round?
one life per round thing. That's why I never got into Counter Strike. But I really like Team Fortress.
Okay, so
I get it, but
I like
it's
both for
yeah,
different reasons.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's some games where it makes sense.
There's some games where it makes sense, but there's also some games where they overload the respawn. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Where like when I play Call of Duty, for example, which is I don't play online. I play with bots because I
yeah,
can't stand listening to people online.
yeah.
Um, when I play with bots, I put a respawn timer so that you respawn when you die. You have to wait 7.5 seconds to respawn
Okay.
because I don't like the constant. It's like you're dead. Oh, you're alive.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
you're dead. Oh,
it
you're
feels
alive.
like you don't get anywhere if
Yeah,
your opponents are just respawning instantly. Yeah.
exactly. Like I hate that. I'm like, oh, I killed him and now they're back
Hmm.
instantaneously. I like there being a delay.
Yeah.
Um, so
That's what I do with Unreal Tournament when I do bots is
yeah,
yeah, there's like a 10-second
delay.
countdown or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But Valorant seems very cool. But man, it is not your daddy's game. You know what I mean? It's complicated.
Well, I let's remember my daddy's game is like, oh wait, no, they didn't have games for
Yeah,
my
yeah,
dad because
exactly.
he's in
Yeah.
his 70s.
Uh, if your casual Overwatch fan came to play this, they'd be lost.
Yeah.
Um, Not just because of the shop and having to buy your weapons. That is actually kind of simple in all honesty.
Yeah.
But the design of the characters' powers are way more complicated than Overwatch. Way
Yeah,
more
okay.
complicated. Like the first character I picked, because normally when I go into these games, I just pick the first character on the list and then just kind
Okay.
of work my way through. The first character I picked was probably the most complicated
Oh
in the whole
wow.
game,
Yeah.
and she her ultimate is mixed in with her regular abilities. So you hit her ultimate and it zooms out to like a map view and you pick locations on the map to put like an orb basically, and then when you go back into the world in first person mode you can use those orbs to trigger abilities like an explosion or like a
Okay.
blind or stuff like that. So and
You're targeting the ion cannon from Command and Conquer or something, basically.
yeah, yeah, you have these like predetermined places, so it's not just you're not throwing a grenade, the grenade's already there, you're just telling it when to trigger.
Okay.
So it's and that's just one of the characters, but they're pretty complicated.
Yeah, you'd have to learn the maps
You
really
have
well to
to
make
know.
good use of that ability.
Yes,
Yeah, it
100%.
definitely sounds like something that takes a time investment.
It's a time investment for sure. I still have it installed. I didn't uninstall it, so I'm gonna give it more time. I think I just need to pick. I need to go through all the characters and pick the ones where I'm like, I get it, and
Yeah,
then
find your mains and then focus on them.
yep. So that's Valorant. Enjoying it. Neon White came to Game Pass, so I tried that.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, have you played Ghost Runner?
No, but I know what it is.
Neon White's basically Ghost Runner, but different.
Yeah.
It plays exactly like Ghost Runner, but just a little bit more arcadey, I guess.
Sure.
You have these cards that do different abilities, but you have to pick them up in sequential order, and each level lasts like 30 seconds.
Hmm.
Not what I thought it was. It's fun, but it's not my type of game.
No,
Ghost Runner
not
wasn't for me either, but
fine.
I can see why it's popular though. It's
Yeah.
very unique. And then finally, I'm not going to go deep on this because we've already talked about Elden Ring a shitload.
Yeah.
But I found out through the grapevine, and I'm not sure why it took this long for me to figure this out or to hear about this. But apparently, if you play the PS4 version of Elden Ring on PS5, it runs better than the PS5 version on PS5.
That is weird, but I can also kind of see why that might be because it presumably has like a lower spec that it's targeting,
Mhm.
and so it's not pushing the PS5 as much as the PS5 version would. Because
Mhm.
the PS5 version would be like, oh, well, we can crank everything up to max because this game was
Yeah.
designed for the PS4.
So I played the whole game twice with the PS5 version. So that shows you how long it took me to find this out.
Yeah.
And the PS5 version runs fine, but it's got a shitload of pop in, especially when you're running around on torrent,
Oh yeah.
especially in like the bigger zones. And so I was like, oh, well, I kind of want to see what the difference is. So I installed the PS4 version. It runs perfectly at a 60 frames per second.
Really?
It never drops. The pop in is way better. The only significant difference that I can tell between the two versions is the loading times for
Oh
the
yeah.
PS4 version are about 4 seconds longer, which
Mm.
is not really enough
And they're
to.
not that long anyway. Yeah.
So
Actually, Dark Souls 3 has a lot of pop in as well, which is weird because the environments are usually pretty enclosed, but I
yeah, I was
guess
gonna
it's
say
because everything is really high detail meshes. To
yeah,
get all that detail, they probably have to really aggressively load and unload assets.
yeah. So I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
I'm like shit. I played the inferior version all this time.
Yeah, I spent all that money to play the inferior version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that kind of sucked.
I remember Digital Foundry a few years ago. They had when the Xbox One X came out, they had a feature on that, and they talked about Halo 5 getting One X upgrades, and they actually said, there are some advantages to playing it on the One X unpatched with just the basic One X
Mm,
enhancements, because it actually because the One X has a bunch of stock enhancements for games that don't have a special One X like performance mode or whatever. Um, and it adds like a crazy amount of anisotropic filtering, so all the ground textures are like really clean and crisp and all that. But it also means that you can't run the game at 4K and all that. So, it was an interesting idea. Like, what if you played it unpatched with just the stock enhancements? Can actually be kind of cool.
well, so I never had an Xbox One, so I never played Halo 5 until I
Neither
got
did I.
a Series X. Once I got the Series X, Halo 5 is on Game Pass. So I
Yeah,
went
I've
back.
been waiting for it to come to the Master Chief Collection on PC.
Yeah, it's weird that they've left that. Did they have?
Yeah.
It's 4 in the Master Chief Collection.
Yep. All of the 1, 2, 3, 4, including the
ODST
enhanced versions of 1 and 2, and
yeah.
ODST are there, and of course Infinite is there as a separate application. But there's no Halo 5.
Is Reach in there?
Yes.
Reach, okay, but no Halo 5. So so this is why. because I played Halo 5 Guardians on Series X.
Mm-hmm.
There's something wrong with it. Seriously wrong with it. If you get any further than like, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to tell the distance in a first person shooter, but like let's say 20 feet away,
Mm-hmm.
the frames on the characters drop. So
Oh,
like,
they have a lower frame rate at a distance.
yeah,
That's a thing that a lot of games do.
but it's not far though.
Oh, okay. So
It's close. It's
it's
close enough to where you'd be shooting at them.
that is weird. Yeah, it
And
shouldn't be
I'm like,
triggering that close.
yeah, I'm like, why is this so ugly? It's
Yeah,
like,
because I mean the Dark Souls games do that. The
yeah,
Resident Evil 2 remake does that.
yeah. If
Where
they're far
they
enough away, it just de-reses them and lowers the frames so that it
yeah
doesn't overload the
yeah
to
that is weird.
but it's really bad.
It shouldn't be doing that close.
I
That's
wish I had like
strange.
some footage to show you of that because it's real bad. I couldn't play it anymore. I was like, this is so stupid. This is
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah. They shouldn't be doing that within shooting range.
Now I don't know if there was like compatibility um options turned on the Xbox Series X for it,
Maybe.
but it shouldn't because it was an Xbox One game, and I think the
Yeah.
compatibility options only flicker on for 360 and Xbox games.
Also,
So
it's a first party game and
yeah,
one of their biggest franchises. You'd think that they'd pay attention to that kind of stuff.
yeah,
That's weird. That
it's
shouldn't be like
very
that.
weird. Yeah. So yeah, I never played Halo 5 Guardians. I played the first level and I was like, couldn't play it.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Well, unless you had anything else to add about what you've been playing or what you've been up to, we can get into the news.
No, I'm. I think the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look at Tunic because you recommended it, and
Yes.
that's my immediate plans for gaming in the future. So I guess we can just
Sweet.
get into the news. I am gonna turn that air conditioning off because it is making it hard to hear you.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we can't hear it at all. So you're good in that regard. Um, but yeah, you'll man, Tunic is so good, and you won't appreciate it until a certain point in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a open ended game, so you can
Okay.
do things in various orders and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I can't really specifically tell you like at what point you'll
What
get
point
it.
it's gonna be?
Yeah, but you'll get to a point in the game. Probably a different point than I was at, but you'll get to a point in the game where you're like, "Oh,
Okay, I like
I'm
that.
I'm getting it. Oh,
I
this
like
is
those kind of
cool."
moments in games.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into the news.
Yes, and it sounded like you had a lot of news, and I had almost none.
Yes, I have 9 pieces of news this week. So I guess I'll kick things off. Um, this first piece of news is funny because last week, I think it was last week, I was talking about how I miss EA Sports Big.
Mhm.
SSX
You will
Tricky
it
and
honestly, that could have been at any point because you will take any opportunity to talk about EA Sports Big. You
I
love it, and
those games
I'm
are
right there
so
with you,
good.
man.
Yeah, I loved like NHL Hit, NHL Hits,
Hits,
uh,
Blitz,
yeah, Blitz, SSX Tricky,
mhm,
like all those stuff. So getting to the news and how it's linked to that, ex EA devs from are forming a new studio to develop a spiritual successor to NBA Street
okay.
using Unreal Engine 5. Uh,
Ooh, we're gonna
so
have the most detailed basketballs we've ever seen. Every
right,
single one of those tiny little studs
yep,
on the ball, we're gonna be able to
it's
see them all.
called The Run.
That's
Um,
a
it,
is that the studio or is that the
no,
game?
it's the game. The
It's
game
a
is called.
terrible name.
Yeah, it's called. I think it's got a full title. Yeah, The Run Got Next. I don't know.
That's even
Terrible name.
worse.
Yeah,
They're gonna have to work on that.
the studio name's pretty cool. It's called Play by Play.
Oh, sure. There you go.
That's a
That
much
should
cooler.
be the game because it's a
I
basketball
agree.
game. Whatever. We're
Yeah,
used to stupid names in the game industry. We got used to saying Nintendo Wii. We can get used to this.
and Wii U.
Yeah.
But yeah, they describe it as a character-driven, full-court 3v3 hoops game that celebrates the attitude, style, and skills of streetball culture. In dedication to the old EA Sports Big titles. So,
Okay.
I hope that it's good, and I hope that it is the first of many games that return. Because man, especially NHL Hits for me was
Mhm.
friggin'
Mhm.
awesome. Just
Yeah, I wish them well. It sounds like they're doing something they're passionate about.
mm. Yeah, there was a, teaser trailer. It's not realism. It's not realistic graphics, which NBA
That's
Street
fine.
wasn't either. It's got sort of that cell shaded kind
That's
of
fine. That's
comic book
totally fine.
style.
I can envision if it's like a street ball game, like some kind of graffiti-esque art style or something that accentuates that would make a
Yes,
lot of sense to
I
me.
would describe it that way,
All right.
based on the visuals for sure. Very graffiti oriented.
I'll
Looks
have to
really
take a look at that.
so that's the first piece of news. I'll jump into the second one since that one was pretty
Sure.
quick. This one's interesting. Nintendo continuously does weird stuff with their
Yeah, they're
esports.
doing something weird again, huh? What a
Yeah.
surprise.
So I mean, I get this one, but it's not how you deal with stuff. So Nintendo withdraws their Splatoon 3 World Championship after racist messages from the winners surfaced.
I heard about this.
Yeah.
And you know what? Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say I agree with them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against this one in particular. I think that there might be better ways of dealing with it
Probably.
than just shutting down, a championship. Like strip the winners of their title. Like
Yeah.
do something. But the official post regarding the 2024 Splatoon 3 World Championship says, and I quote, "It has come to our attention that certain members of Team Jackpot, the team that recently won the Splatoon 3 World Championship, acted in a manner that is not in line with our community guidelines while playing the Splatoon 3 game. As a result, Team Jackpot, mhm, Jackpot's win will be considered vacated." Okay, so they did. I didn't read this. "And the team will not receive trophies associated with the event. Additionally, the in-game splash tag banner commemorating their win will be adjusted via an upcoming software update. Nintendo cares deeply about our players and our community, and we take our blah 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 blah."
Right.
But I believe um, I thought they canceled the next championship because of this. But maybe I read that wrong.
You see, this is why if I ran a game company, I would never like run an official esports thing
Gotta be
because
careful.
I would. The thing is, the second you have somebody acting unsportingly, I just be like, okay, you're out, you're done, shut
Yeah.
down, you lose.
Yeah.
Second place gets advanced to first place. Like I would have
Yeah.
zero tolerance for that shit.
Yeah, that's what they should. I think they should have rose whoever was in second
Mm-hmm.
to the winners instead of just having no winner.
Yeah, because now
Um,
you're associating them with your brand.
yeah, and you're punishing, fans for the stupidity of the winners. Um, yeah, I think what they did against the team was well done, but I think that overall the games industry in general has to figure out how to raise the standards of these teams,
Yeah,
and just hold them more accountable
yeah,
than just pulling a win. Like ban them from all future championships. Do something, or I don't know. I don't know what the answer is,
yeah. Neither do
but
I.
I don't really know that what they're doing thus far is working.
But also,
Um,
like we talked about this, I think esports are fucking stupid. So I'd be happy to see the whole thing just crumble to dust. But that's obviously not realistic.
I like certain ones, and some of them yeah, stuff like this comes up like
Well, you know what I think it should be is I don't think companies should be getting in on it. I think it should be like all unofficial stuff because then they don't
yeah
have to get their hands dirty with any of it. They can just
yeah
say, "Oh, we don't condone or endorse these players," and they don't have to deal with the fallout that comes with this kind of shit.
hmm yeah I agree. Um, like I love Evo. I love watching that stuff.
Hmm.
I'm not a fighting game fan personally. Like I can't play
Yeah, I suck at
Street
them.
Fighter with crap, but watching people play it, I'm like, holy crap, you're
Yeah,
damn,
the
you know,
highest level players are pretty
so
impressive.
good. Yeah. Yeah. I still have lots left, so I'll continue to the next one
Go
here.
for it.
This one's real quick. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 arrived on Game Pass on July 24th. That was 3 days ago. It's now the first Call of Duty game to be available on Game Pass since the Activision Blizzard merger with Xbox. for those of you who don't know, Modern Warfare 3, it's the new Modern Warfare 3. Don't even get me started on their naming conventions. So it's the one that reviewed pretty poorly, which is interesting. I did download it and play it since it was on Game Pass. And yeah, it's Modern Warfare 2 with extra stuff.
And now, is it the new Modern Warfare 2 with extra stuff, or the old Modern Warfare?
Right. Yeah, and Modern Warfare 2, the new one, wasn't great. It had a lot of glitches and a lot of problems when it came out. Yeah. So anyway, it's out if you want to play it. Includes the entire package. You get the campaign, multiplayer, zombies, all that.
I think the last Call of Duty game I played was the original Modern Warfare 3 with you.
Oh, wow.
That's how long it's been since I touched one of those games.
You know what? That was probably my favorite one. That was the one with survival mode, and they never brought it back. That made me so mad.
Yeah.
Survival mode was my favorite part of those games, where it's just you and a buddy against waves
of enemies. Yeah, I mean, that's my favorite mode in Halo as well.
Yeah. Firefight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know why they gave up on. I mean, zombies, I guess, was
zombies is pretty much the same.
Even though I don't like the zombies mode personally. Oh, and here comes Mr. Talkative. What would you like? Would you like a swift kick in the butt? No, just some scritches. He's like, who are you talking to? Why are you so loud? How about you?
He's got hot takes on the news as well.
Yeah. What do you think about Nintendo? Taking out these racist losers. What do you think? You don't have anything to say now? All right, he doesn't have anything to say.
All right, so you want me to go into the news I have?
Yeah, what do you got?
All right, news I have is very basic, very simple. It's a collection of news stories that are all the same thing, which is unions. We've got a bunch of them now.
Yes.
ZeniMax just had a union form. Microsoft has apparently recognized it, which is great news.
Mm-hmm.
The World of Warcraft team has also just formed a union, which according to this, it is about 500 people, which is a lot of people for one game. But it is World of Warcraft, and when you think about how many servers they've got to keep online for that, it starts to make a lot of sense.
Yeah, both World of Warcraft and Classic now, because they got all those to worry about too.
Mm-hmm. And there was also a you know what? I picked up the Sega one. It's actually from back in March. So
okay.
I missed that.
Yeah, I don't remember hearing about that either.
Hey, okay. If there's been a union at Sega of America that I didn't know about, that's great news to find out as well. So unions. Awesome. It's long overdue in this industry.
Yeah, I can't believe it took me as long as it has.
Yeah.
That being said, those are
per company.
Yeah, and I think those two companies in particular are the ones that need it the most right now.
Yes. Maybe now Microsoft Studios will have some protections if they decide to arbitrarily shut them down for tax write-offs.
Mm-hmm.
One can hope.
Yeah, especially with the state of Blizzard right now.
Yeah, it's my God. Yeah.
They need the help.
Please, can we get a Ubisoft union next? Or can we just throw out all the people at the top of the company?
Yeah, that company's in trouble.
I will happily take either one of those. But that leads into another news story that you have, I believe, on your docket.
Yeah.
Which is the voice actor strike.
Yeah, SAG-AFTRA. I think is what their official name is.
Mm-hmm. It's a merger of the Screen Actors Guild and American Film, Television, Radio.
Mm-hmm. They are on strike as of yesterday.
Yes, because of AI voice cloning, which we just had a strike like last year about this kind of shit. Did the game industry not clue in that
nope.
If the movie industry is not gonna
tolerate it,
is not going to be able to get away with it, who fucking game industry thinks they can get away with it? No.
Yeah, I can't imagine anyone being against this strike
Except for the
Um,
people who invested in AI, obviously.
yeah, for sure.
But fuck them.
From a gamer standpoint, like how can you not support these people? Like I think I saw a tweet from Jennifer Hale
Yeah.
supporting the strike, and I'm like, heck yeah, like she's given us
Yeah. Oh my
so
god.
many
It's
games that
so
oh man,
many. Metal Gear Solid,
Mass Effect,
Mass Effect,
yeah,
Knights of the Old Republic,
yeah, she's a
Bayonetta
legend.
3. She was the voice of Samus's grunts of pain in Metroid Prime. They went that
I
far to
didn't
get
know that. That's
yeah, they
cool.
went that far to get someone like that just to go,
Just get some grunts.
yeah. So
Yeah, so
and
she's supporting it. It's like,
countless TV shows as well. Like
oh yeah,
she's in
for sure.
everything. She's one of the most prolific voice actors in North America.
Yeah, it should be interesting to see how long this one goes and if it causes any game delays.
Yeah, well, look, if it means not having to have stupid fucking TikTok auto narrator voice acting in games, I'm all for it. I don't care how long games get delayed for.
Hundred
I'd
percent.
I'd rather have real performers than some fucking robot voice. Unless you're making a game about Stephen Hawking, but that's obviously a special
That's cheating.
case.
No.
Super Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, I've got a. Let's see. I have a quote in here. Yeah. So in a statement, SAG-AFTRA president Fran Drescher, I believe his name is, said, "Our employees are not interested in fair, reasonable AI protections, but rather flagrant exploitation." Negotiating committee chair Sarah Elmala elaborated on that in a call on Thursday, saying, "Unfortunately, exploitation is exactly what the bargaining group would have us accept for ourselves. The employers refuse to plainly affirm in clear and enforceable language that they will protect all performers covered by this contract in their AI language. They insist we overlook obvious AI loopholes that imperil both movement and voice performance, I can't speak, which are in today's games frequently combined. Their offer is
Hmm.
quite literally unacceptable."
Yes, because a lot of voice actors are doing the facial capture,
Hmm.
and in some cases, full body motion capture for a lot of characters. Johnny Young Bosch, who you will remember as Adam from Power Rangers,
Mm.
apparently did a bunch of the martial arts for Nero in the Devil May Cry games because
Oh,
he's, of course, a professional martial artist in addition to
that's
being the
cool.
voice of the character.
Which Devil May Cry was it?
That would be 4 and 5 because those are the ones that Nero is
Really?
in. Yep.
He was the voice, eh?
Yep, he's the voice of Nero.
Huh.
That apparently I've heard came from Ruben Langdon, who is the voice and motion capture performer of Dante. He's also a professional martial artist. His recommendation apparently was to find people who could do both, and suggested look at people who were on Power Rangers because the voice and motion capture actor for Virgil was also a Power Rangers alumni. I believe he was in Power Rangers Time Force, which is a little bit after when we were into it,
Oh
but
yeah, way after. Yeah.
he was on that show as well.
Huh.
So a lot of professional actor slash martial artists instead of having a separate actor and stunt performer.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would say that we fully stand with the strike, and
100%.
they're gonna get what they deserve
They
because
better.
they're needed.
Yeah.
What they they're gonna have to come to an agreement. Otherwise, have fun with your AI only voices in your
Yeah,
games.
and the great thing about this is apparently um, this is not like a universal strike. Like companies
No.
that agree to abide by the terms will not be struck.
Yeah,
So the people who play ball will get to keep their game on time,
and
and
I
the
think
people who
one of
don't,
them. Yeah, they're screwed. I seem to recall uh, Grand Theft Auto 6 not being affected by this.
okay, that's
Um,
good.
whether or not that was because they agreed to the terms right off the bat, or if they're exempt because of something that Rockstar had in their contracts. I'm not entirely sure.
Dude, they've got to
Um,
have enough money to pay
oh
actors
yeah,
whatever the hell they want.
God, yeah. If they can
That
spend $2 billion on GTA 6,
yeah.
I'm sure they're paying their,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
mean, they only made like what, $10 billion on GTA. Like that
it's
might
insane.
sound like a number I pulled out of my ass, but I think it might actually be something like that. They sold like 100 million copies of that game, and God knows how many shark cards for GTA Online.
Let's see how much revenue was earned by GTA 5. Let's see if there's a number.
It's gonna be
8.5 billion.
yeah. So I was close. Yeah, that's
Yeah. Now,
it. That's it.
now that was like, you know, on a specific date that was taken.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy.
hmm
So yeah, they took 2 billion of that and we're like, all right, let's
For
make a sequel
one game.
for
For
one
well,
game.
I mean, technically GTA Online is a separate game, but it's not.
Yeah,
It's not really.
I'm really interested to see what they do with that. Because like, are they
Mhm.
going to create GTA Online 2?
Well, they're gonna
When
have
with,
to. I
with
mean,
six?
they're
Like,
gonna have a whole new. They're gonna have a whole new map to play
yeah,
in. They'd be insane not to do that.
crazy. All right.
Mhm.
Next piece of news. That was all you had, right?
The Union stuff is all I had.
Okay. Next piece of news we have is Helldivers 2 Escalation of Freedom update has been teased by Arrowhead. So it's the next big content drop for Helldivers 2. This comes out August 6th, so not very far away at all.
Okay.
So they're adding another difficulty setting,
All right.
which is already insane.
Yep.
There's 9 difficulty settings, and the ninth one is. We just me and my buddy played, and we just got to 8, and 8
Okay.
is like
Insane.
it's ridiculous. So I can't imagine what 9 is, and then they're adding a 10th one now. They're also adding new mission objectives, bigger enemy outposts, new enemies, new environmental hazards, and more that they're going to reveal at a later date.
And
Um,
that's a free update. All right.
Yep.
Good.
No, I don't think they ever said that they were going to charge for extra content with the game.
All right.
I think
All
it was
right.
said
Good
from
on
the
them.
beginning. Yeah, for sure. Oh, I mean, it's not a free to play game, right? Everyone paid for it, so it's like,
Sure.
you know, which
But that doesn't guarantee anything.
no, actually, I don't think you've been on the show when I brought this up. I think Bailstorm's always been on the show. So people are for those few people who have listened to every episode, probably sick of me talking about this, but Diablo 4 is pissing me off.
Oh yeah.
When they first announced that thing, they're like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be all free post launch content. We're going to have 1 or 2 extra character classes per year. Blah 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 blah."
Mhm.
How long's the game been out now?
I don't even know. I honestly couldn't answer you.
It's been a while,
Yeah.
and we still haven't got a new character yet.
It's been
And
at
now
least a year.
and we're finally getting a new one in October, but it ain't free, ladies and
Oh
gentlemen.
no.
The game is a normal full price game, $89.99.
Jesus.
The
That's
DLC,
Canadian, of course.
yeah, Canadian.
It's
Yep.
not that bad in the States yet, but just
No.
you wait. They'll
But the
want to push it up.
DLC coming out, which has 1 new character class
Mhm.
and a new environment,
Okay.
$50.
50.
50.
Oh fuck that shit.
Yeah, I was like, well, I ain't playing that. Are you kidding me? You went from this is going to be free post launch content to here's a more than half of the price of the full game, and you only get 1 character class and an extra.
Especially after
character.
all they put into Diablo 3. Like prime your audience for the worst possible expectation now after you did such a great job with the last one.
Oh, I was so pissed when I found that. Because I got all excited when they announced the new class, Spiritborn, it's called.
Okay.
And I was like, oh shit, I can't wait to play that. And then I saw it pop up in the PlayStation Store, and I was like, why is it in the PlayStation Store? It's just a free update. And then I saw the price, and I was like,
that's
fuck
fucked.
that. No. Oh, I was so mad.
Terrible.
So stupid. I don't understand how that's not a bigger news story.
Yeah, that's you know what? Maybe people are just desensitized to Blizzard's bullshit.
It could be.
Yeah, that is not the company it used to be. Or maybe it is, and they're just getting to do all the bullshit charges that they maybe always wanted to do. I don't know. I'd like to believe that
Yeah.
they were better people back in the day.
Maybe this was a Microsoft change as well. Who knows?
Maybe.
I don't know, but it's some
Gotta make back that money they spent.
it's some bullshit. These are the same guys that make how many billions each year off of World of Warcraft.
Who the fuck knows?
It's like you have 12 million players. They're each paying $20 a month.
Is it still that high? Wow.
Well, 20 Canadian.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Let me go quickly look. World of Warcraft sub price. $12.99 US.
Really?
Yeah, $12.99.
Didn't they make it like free up to a certain expansion or something?
No, that was Final Fantasy 14.
I know Final Fantasy 14 did it. World of Warcraft didn't do that? Jesus Christ.
There is a free version of World of Warcraft, but the level cap is like 20 or something.
Oh, okay. That must be what I'm thinking of then.
Yeah. Not that I care, because I'm never going to play WoW again. But
I haven't. The last time I played World of Warcraft was before the first expansion.
Oh wow! Okay.
I played the 1 week demo that they had, and I was like, I cannot pay for this because I will be hopelessly addicted.
Yeah.
So I knew to cut myself off when that trial period ended, and I've never looked back.
I played vanilla. I played Burning Crusade, and then I quit, which means I missed Wrath of the Lich King. And then I came back at the end of Cataclysm, and then played Mists of Pandaria, and then I quit in whatever the expansion was after that.
Yeah,
I played it too much.
Yeah.
Getting through to the rest of the news, just a few more pieces here. The BioShock film is been confirmed still in the works, but it's being reconfigured due to lower budgets.
Yes, I saw that in my news crawl, and I figured you probably had that in there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like you don't need to do a BioShock movie.
I feel like the time has passed for a BioShock movie, just like there was the time passed for a Halo TV show.
Yeah. Well, maybe maybe that new BioShock that they're working on that we talked about, maybe that'll reinvigorate things, but I don't know.
Maybe they'll time it so that they come out kind of around the same time. We'll see. But yeah, they said that the movie is being reconfigured and it will result in a more personal film, whatever the heck that.
That sounds like marketing speak.
Yeah. So the new regime has lowered the budget, so we're doing a much smaller version.
Regime.
Yeah. It's going to be a more personal point of view as opposed to a bigger, grander project. So we'll see.
We couldn't afford as many actors as before.
Yep, and the CGI is going to take a hit and all that kind of stuff.
Oh no.
This next news piece, I'm surprised you forgot about. We talked about it on Twitter, I think. But eagle-eyed SDCC fans think they've spotted a Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remake.
Yes, and I actually didn't put this on my news docket because I knew you were going to bring it up. And this is so, not to get ahead of ourselves here, but it's a good thing that you changed the topic of discussion for this week from games that should get remakes, because you want to do that with Bailstorm. Because if we start talking about potential remakes and Legacy of Kain, we're going to be here for another 4 hours. Because I can talk about those games all
I can't believe
long.
that series died, man. Crazy to me, that series.
Yeah, well,
nowhere.
I mean, the various circumstances. I mean, a lot of those games had troubled development, so it doesn't surprise me.
Soul Reaver was great, though, man.
Oh, they're all great. I mean, they're not perfect, but I do genuinely think that each one of those games is the best it could have possibly been at the time and under the circumstances, with the kind of cuts that had to go. Like Soul Reaver has so much stuff that was cut from the story just because it was getting too big, and a lot of it got moved into Soul Reaver 2. But then they had different teams working on it. Like apparently the Blood Omen 2 team is different from the Soul Reaver 2 team, which makes sense. Those games came out like I think the same year. So they must have been developed in tandem by different teams.
1999 and 2001, I think the Soul Reaver games came out.
Soul Reaver was, yeah, I believe 1999, and then 2002 for Soul Reaver 2.
Gotcha. Yeah, PS2 games and PC, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. They haven't actually announced a remaster of these games, but
The
it
branding
was
was there.
yeah, the branding was there. It was written
That
on the
doesn't just
cassette
happen
too.
by accident.
Very strange, yeah.
And there
So
is apparently a Legacy of Kain comic book adaptation that's going to be kickstarted, I guess.
okay.
I don't know why they would need to kickstart that. They just didn't they just get bought by Embracer?
Crystal Dynamics, yes.
Or was
Yeah.
it no, was it
No.
I think it's Aesper. Hold on, let
Crystal
me
Crystal Dynamics got bought by Embracer, and then Embracer sold them somewhere. Pretty
let
sure.
me let me look this up real quick. I should know this. Crystal Dynamics.
Pretty sure that Embracer bought them and then sold them very quickly after.
Okay, so they are okay. Something called CDE Entertainment. Now, is
Not
that a
sure.
subsidiary of?
Embracer?
I
Maybe?
don't know. Oh my god, there's so much here. Yeah, it looks like it's a. Oh my god. Oh my god, they own so much. I did
Oh,
not read.
Embracer? Oh, that's
Yeah,
disgusting. We should have a topic of the week that talks about Embracer one week because it's a
I
lot of
didn't
stuff.
know that they had Dark Horse Comics.
They own like 1,000 different IP. It's insane.
Yeah. Oh my god. I had no idea they bought Dark Horse. God, that is depressing.
Well, there's a lot more depressing stuff that they own, trust me.
Ugh, yeah. And they own
Um,
Flying Wild Hog, and they own.
they
Oh
own
my god,
like everything that THQ owned.
Black Forest. Yep, yep.
So there's a lot of stuff that they own.
Ugh, gross.
Moving on. There's only two pieces of news left. The first one is small. Blizzard is looking at bringing the 6v6 back to Overwatch, which is
Sure. Okay.
absolutely hilarious to me because
Means nothing to me because I've never played
okay,
Overwatch.
so Overwatch 1 was 6 on 6. And it was throughout its whole
Throughout its whole
life
existence.
experience. Yeah, and then they announced Overwatch 2, which was a 5v5. And then they promised a huge single player campaign to go along with
Yeah.
Overwatch
Okay.
2. Overwatch 2 comes out, and it's almost identical to Overwatch 1 except
One.
5v5 except it's 5v5. And then they cancel the campaign.
Yep.
So now there's no campaign, and
Yep.
now they're looking to go back to 6v6.
Mm-hmm. Because they did what they always do, which is they got in some hot water and they said, "Hey, look over here. See these keys? Be amused by this."
Yeah. What a joke.
Yep.
Like that whole thing is just like, how could you possibly have botched that as badly as you did?
Mm-hmm.
It's
It is a
pathetic.
tremendous study in how to burn community goodwill because
Oh yeah.
people love Overwatch and they are bending over backwards to try and continue loving Overwatch. But Blizzard is making it real hard for them.
Yeah. I wish I could be just a fly on the wall in their offices, just listening to the stupidity of their
Yeah.
decisions. It's just insane.
Yeah.
So that's that one. And the last piece of news is one that we talked about just before the show, which is Soccer 2.
Yes. I
Unfortunately
discovered
been delayed.
this. I discovered this during my news crawl before
Yeah.
the show, and I was like, "Oh no!" I
Yeah.
fucking love the Stalker games, man. I love them so much, and I've been waiting so long for Stalker 2, from cancellations to revivals and the war in Ukraine, which is where the
Yeah.
studio is based. It's been the fucking NFT thing that they did for like a week, and then they backed off when everybody said
Yeah.
"fuck this," including
Yep.
me. It's been a roller coaster, man, and I want to get off and just play the game. But you know what? If they need to take the time, fine. I'd rather it come out late and good than early and
Yeah,
broken. I've said
they
that
need
before, and I'll
more.
say it again.
Yeah, they need more time for bug fixes, and if I remember correctly,
That
Stalker
doesn't
came.
surprise me.
Yeah, no,
Those
yeah,
games are really buggy.
yeah. I was gonna say Stalker. I remember being a bug hell. So if they need more time, give them more time,
Take it.
especially
Take it.
yeah,
Just
especially
take it.
given their their country situation. It's
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
it, man. So the new release date has been delayed by 2 months, so it's now officially September 5th, 2024. They did call this a firm final release date.
Yeah, well,
So
we've heard that before.
we'll see. We'll see how
We'll
that goes.
see.
We'll see. So that's all for the news. We watched 3 new trailers of note that came out this week.
Yes, and you
Um,
specifically told me don't give your thoughts because I know what you're going to say and I want to get it recorded.
yeah. So I'm gonna leave that one for last, just because. So we'll see.
We could just get through it real quick.
Yeah, that's actually true. Let's do it. So the Deviator.
Deviator, it is Hollow Knight
It's
as
Hollow Knight.
fuck.
It's
It is
super Hollow
the
Knight.
hollowest night that has ever been.
Someone went, you know what? It's taking way too
Too long for
godforsaken
Silk Song.
for Silk Song. I'm making my own Hollow Knight, and it actually looks good. Like I watched the
Sure,
trailer and I was
looks
like,
fine.
it looks good. So hopefully it's good. And honestly, I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, I hope it's better than Hollow Knight because
Yeah.
it's taking way too long for Silk Song.
This is like what happened with Goodbye
It's crazy.
Volcano High, where somebody came out with a parody game before that game fucking finally finished.
And then no one played Goodbye Volcano High.
Yeah, well, I mean, they kind of gave away the ending because the announcement trailer for that game says you know what happened to the dinosaurs. It's like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
so we've got a fucking Final Fantasy VII situation on our hands.
Yep.
Somebody found the black materia.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, I love the look of Deviator. It does obviously look exactly like Hollow
Yeah,
Knight.
it's just Hollow Knight.
Yeah, except it's got a lot more color. That would be the
I
only.
mean, it's got blue.
It has a lot of blue. That's definitely true. Yeah, it looks good. I don't remember what the release date was on it. But it looks pretty cool.
Before Silk Song.
Yeah, yeah.
It says here August 2nd, so
Okay.
definitely
Wow.
before Silk Song.
Holy crap! That's 5 days.
That's really soon.
That's really soon. So yeah, I hope it's good.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well, I'm sure it will be because it's just Hollow Knight.
it's just Hollow Knight's great. Yeah, the people that started to what's the word? Conspiratize. I don't know what the word is, but had it, they were talking about how they think Silk Song was vaporware. It's not a thing, and it's just like an animation that the guys created. I'm starting to wonder if it's friggin' true because like that game was supposed to come out 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like there's no world in which you have a game that was supposed to come out in 2022 and we're now in halfway through 2024 and it still doesn't even have a release date yet.
Yeah.
What happened?
I remember when Metroid Dread came out and people were like, "Oh, why would I bother buying Metroid Dread? Silk Song's about to come out." It's like, no, it's not, you fucking idiots.
Yeah, no. That game is I'm honestly like
I just hope it doesn't come out and ends up like Duke Nukem Forever because that'd be heartbreaking.
no, I don't think it will. My gut says it is going to come out. It's just like there's no reason for it to take this long. Come on. Like it's a 2D side scroller. You had the foundation for the game already made. Why has it taken this long? It makes no sense.
It's probably scope creep. Somebody got overconfident and says, "Yeah, it's a 2D side scroller game that we already have the foundation for. We can add a bunch of stuff. That won't take very long." Oops.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it was one of those things where they're like, we can make this so much bigger, and then they just never stopped making it bigger.
Yeah. It's like the inverse of the Binding of Isaac situation where they re-release the game like 50 times.
Yeah.
Because they keep adding more to it. It's like, no, we'll release it once after we've finished everything.
Yeah. The second trailer was for Dungeonborn. It's now out in early access, and it's a free-to-play.
Yeah, and that is like a first-person... I looked at this, and during the cinematic part of it, I was like, oh, so this is going to be a Souls thing, right? But then it's like, no, it's like a first-person kind of, and it says it's an extraction shooter. So
Yeah,
like
but it's
a,
not though.
but not because it's a medieval fantasy game.
So the cool part about this trailer is that I played it, so I can tell you exactly what it is.
Oh, okay.
You know what it reminds me of is oh, what were those dungeon crawlers you used to play? They made some modern ones recently. You played 2 of them. You recommended them to me. They're on Steam. I have them. Let me see what they're called.
Was Arx Fatalis one of them?
No, it was there was 2 of them, but they were sequels. It was one sequel to the next one.
Oh.
Legend of Grimrock.
Oh, okay. Somebody
So,
else must have recommended those to you because I don't have those games.
oh, okay, maybe it wasn't you. Yeah, now I have no idea who recommended them. But so those games are not they're first person, but they're like the rigid kind where you're walking and you go left, you go right, you turn right, like it's
Yeah,
boxy.
it's very Eye of the Beholder,
Yes, this one is an actual full first person game.
which is what Arx Fatalis is.
Okay,
Don't get me started on Arx Fatalis. I'll never stop.
good game.
Very good game. Still works on modern Windows, but maybe
Oh, an
play the
older one.
Xbox version because
Okay.
the Arx Fatalis is one of those. See, I'm already getting into it. I said, don't get me started.
Here.
Here we go. Arx Fatalis is one of those games from that era that said, "Hey, what if we used mouse gestures to do magic spells?" See also Black and White, except Black and White actually kind of made it work. And Arx Fatalis does not make it work because Arx Fatalis, you have to draw like multiple strokes on a glyph instead of just doing a spiral or a triangle or something like in Black and White, which is the key distinction. If it's one solid motion, it works. If you have to scribe in like 2 or 3 strokes to a glyph, it doesn't work.
It takes longer and you can screw it up easier.
It's so bad. I will say they do let you bank spells, so you can pre-cast Fireball because you're not going to be able to draw the runes in real-time combat for a Fireball. It's not doable. The Xbox version does not have the rune drawing system. Obviously, I don't know where you'd find a copy of it for Xbox. I mean, other than emulation sites, but I actually don't know what the state of Xbox emulation is.
They might have it on the Xbox store. They had a big backwards compatibility
they might
like push where you can download them right from the store.
Might. But Arx Fatalis is really, really good. It's a basically spiritual successor to Ultima Underworld. So
okay, yeah.
So it's I liked it a lot.
Do you know a game they don't have backwards compatible on?
Is Xbox? It Brute Force?
Yeah. And MechAssault.
Yeah.
Unreal.
And that's another game that you and I will never shut up about. We will carry the Brute Force torch forever.
Brute Force and MechAssault, man, so good.
The world will be plunged into darkness after the sun goes out, and the 2 shining lights will be us carrying the Brute Force torch.
Brute Force. Good games. But yeah, Dungeonborn is interesting. It's basically it extraction shooter is a very weird way to describe it.
Yeah, that's the way it's described in the IGN.
Because it's not like a
description
shooter.
No,
it's like your mages and your knights, and it's that kind of classic medieval Lord of the Rings kind of class structure. I think there's 8 classes I think in the game right now. It's not a game you can really play alone. I mean, you can, but you're not going to get very far. Sure. But it's all about you gear up with your friends. You go into a map. You have, I think, there's a timer for like 15 minutes. You do as much as you can. You kill as many dudes as you can. Get loot, and then you have to extract before like 1 million enemies come and kill you. Because I don't have anyone to play with, I can't really specify.
If it's free to play, I'll download it.
Yeah.
We'll give it.
It actually ran on my PC.
Oh, okay, then yeah.
It's not high. It's not high needs for the running of it. So
yeah, sure.
If you want to give it a try, we can play it multiplayer and give it.
Probably not tonight because it's getting kind of late. But we can give it a shot tomorrow or something.
Yeah, for sure. I'd have to re-download it because I got rid of it once I realized that playing alone is virtually impossible. But the concept of it is really cool, and but it is early access, so it's got that early access.
Sure,
and all that kind of stuff. But it's free.
That's fine.
And then the last trailer we checked out was Truckful. I just kind of put this in here because I thought it was cute.
It is cute. I was watching. I was like, oh yeah, this is cute. And then suddenly, like immediately after I saw that, it started to take the dark turn.
Dark turn,
of course. But what I was thinking when I was looking at that is like, oh, it's Death Stranding if Norman Reedus had a truck.
He had a truck, exactly.
Because you're loading up, and it goes to that screen where it shows like the weight balance on the left and right side. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is Death Stranding all over the place.
Yeah, and the road, depending on the road you're on, it's all
bumpier, and yeah.
Yeah, looks pretty cool. So I thought that was worth checking out.
That'll probably be a neat little thing.
Yeah, I like little games that do things.
Sure,
you know what I mean. So I'm all for checking those things out, especially if they're properly priced.
Yes,
I think is a good way of putting it.
Yep.
All right, so let's move into our topic.
Okay, but before we do that,
yeah,
time codes.
I did.
Okay.
I didn't get the trailers, but I did get the news and the topic.
Well, I figured our pre-discussion was probably just going to be all in there.
Yeah, I got it.
Which is why I didn't remind you before, but I still have the file up here, so you can make those chapters in the YouTube video.
Yes, I didn't even do the chapters last week because I just was like, I can't do this.
Yeah,
I gotta figure it out.
So yes, sorry to cut you off. We had a topic change, as I said, as I alluded to before, because you wanted to do games that should get a remake with Bailstorm. Bailstorm wasn't able to make it this week, so you texted me and said, hey, first of all, can you fill in? And then also, we need a new topic. And I was like, shit, what are we going to do? Well, the thing is, I was hanging out with my mom, and we were watching The Witcher on Netflix, and that gave me the idea, what about adaptations?
Mm-hmm.
And my first idea was video game adaptations to other things, and you said, but didn't you want to keep it positive? which I did say, because I spent a lot of time being salty about Elden Ring last time, and of course the history of video game adaptations into other media is not the brightest shining star in the sky, although it is getting better.
It's
improving, but it hasn't become the norm yet. It hasn't been good long enough to be the norm, even though as I said to you, I will defend the honor of most of the Resident Evil movies, not those last two, not the sixth one, and not the reboot that they did. Those ones
did a reboot. I didn't even know.
They did a reboot. It was really low key and it was really bad.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing. You're talking about the last movie of the original.
Yeah, the sixth movie of the Mila Jovovich series.
Yeah, didn't it end with like a nuke or something at the end? Or
no, it ended with they got the antivirus and it got out and it makes everything fine again. Okay.
Yeah.
That movie was. I mean, that whole movie was a disaster, like on camera and off, because there were some big accidents on set. Somebody died.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Another person, Mila Jovovich's stunt double, I believe, lost either her hand or her entire arm in a
crap!
Like a motorcycle crash, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, that movie was.
I've seen them all. They're. If you do not compare them to Resident Evil, then they're good, except for the first movie. I think the first movie's not terrible at replicating.
Well, so here's
Resident Evil.
Yeah, and this was not going to be our subject, but since we're kind of talking about it, I'll just say this: I am okay with the Resident Evil movies not being like the games, because that's always the complaint. They're not like the game, but like the thing is, the game is like half of the game is figuring out which keys go into which doors or which objects go into which other objects. Like you stick the gems in the eyes of a statue or something. Basically, keys with an extra layer of abstraction. And that's not going to be an entertaining thing to watch in a movie. You're going to watch Mila Jovovich just sit around and go, "Ooh, I wonder where this diamond key goes." Yeah. Like, no, that would be stupid. So
there's certain things about video games that just don't translate well.
Now you could have a separate argument about maybe it's not the right thing to adapt into a movie in the first place. And that's a totally legit conversation to have. But also, they're going to want to do that because of money. So they're going to do it whether it's a good idea or not. I think that changing it to take advantage of the strengths of a movie is the right way to go. Not everybody liked it, but I thought it was
Clearly, it
fun.
did well enough to have 6 movies, though.
Yeah,
So,
they apparently did really well in Japan.
well, there
I
you go.
also think Mila Jovovich is really hot, so that
Agreed.
helps.
And I actually I liked most of those movies. My
Yeah, they're
favorite
fine.
one was probably the desert one. I don't remember what that one
That
was.
was the third one. Yeah, that's
The
my
third one.
favorite one as well.
It's so good with the crows or whatever that
Yep.
come.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
so
infected
cool.
crows. Yeah, and the flamethrower thing and
Yeah,
the psychic powers for some reason. That was a weird plot element, but
weird
whatever.
twist. Yeah, it's
But
Resident
yes,
Evil.
so what
Right?
we settled on for a topic was instead the best games that we can think of that have been adapted from something else. And we didn't really get into like the specific rules, but I think we both kind of probably agreed, you know, independently that um certain things qualify as a licensed title and certain things don't.
Yeah,
Like I would not consider let's say the Spice Girls game as a licensed title. Not that I think either one of us are going to have that in our list,
no,
but people aren't a license. So I think we both kind of probably accept that it's more about franchises as licenses, properties rather than people. But I mean, there's also other minutia which we'll get into because I've got some things here that are maybe not, but the point is we didn't have hard rules for this. We just kind of
no.
said adaptations of other things,
Best
um,
licensed stuff.
and just kind of go with the flow. Also, you wisely said let's make it about 10, but have a list of maybe 15 because
In
there's
case
probably
there's
going to be some
overlap.
overlap. And I'm looking at shit right here that I know there's going to be overlap for.
We'll see. So the mindset that I went into with this one is, well, first of all, there's certain. I'm not going to say which ones, but I'm sure everyone can think of what they are. There's certain series and certain franchises and IP that have many games
Mhm.
in their history.
It's the
So
first one on my list. I know
yeah.
what it is. You know what it is.
So what I
We
ended up
haven't even talked about this. We haven't even compared lists. I
no,
know what franchise we're both thinking of
yeah, there's two in particular that
because
I
it's
think
the big
stand
one.
out. Yeah, but what I kind of went with was because I wanted a diverse list. I
Yeah.
went with a one game per IP rule.
Yeah, and you did
Um,
say that you had one case of
I did.
overlap, and I know what franchise that's going to be. As soon as I saw that text, I was like,
We'll
"Oh, he
see.
is."
It might
Uh,
surprise you. I went
uh,
pretty deep on this, man. I went
maybe,
deep. I
maybe,
went
but
deep.
I think I might know what it is.
All right. Well,
So
let's see. So we're gonna go back and forth,
yeah,
bouncing back and forth. Should I flip a coin?
no, you know what? I kind of stole your intro there.
Sure.
So why don't you go first?
Whoa, snap, son. Okay. I'm gonna go with. Okay, so full disclosure. Uh, s- you know, I like all of these games,
Of course.
but I'm not gonna sit here and tell you they're the best games of all time.
Or that one is better than the
Um,
other. And also some of these games are going to be kind of old because the
yeah, they
licensed games have
range.
been a thing for a long time. Some of
Yeah,
them will
I know
have
the
aged
gamut,
better
man.
than others. I think we're probably going to be looking at them in terms of how we felt about them at the time.
Yeah, I hope that my list is surprising to you, because I
I
did a
think
lot of
my list
research
will
on
be
it.
surprised. At least some of them will be surprising because some of them you may not know are adapted from other properties.
Those are the ones I'm most interested in. Okay.
Okay,
So I will start with an obvious one
here
as
we
far as the
go.
franchise go, but maybe not an obvious one as far as the game goes. So the franchise in question, or the license in question, is Lord of the Rings, which is one of the two that I was referencing. That there's a lot of
That is
uh,
also on my list.
yeah. The game is The Third Age.
Okay, that doesn't surprise me because you really like Final Fantasy X.
Yes. So for those that don't know, the Third Age is a turn-based, three-party member RPG.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the way I would describe it to people is it's kind of like baby's first uh, RPG. It's not super deep, but for a licensed game, it's very deep.
With a fairly
Um,
original story.
and the story is awesome because here's the thing. A lot of licensed games will just copy the movie they're after or copy the comic they're after, and you don't get anything original.
Mm-hmm.
What they did with this is they created a bunch of characters that are parallel to the movies.
Yeah,
And
because it's specifically based on the movies.
they're definitely based on the movies. They're based off that Peter Jackson
Yeah.
trilogy.
Mhm.
But you're playing characters that are newly created for it, but they're happening alongside the movie. And in some cases, you actually see the main characters from the movie in a scene in the background. So
Mhm.
for the best example I can give, which is the one that always comes to my mind, is in the background of one of the scenes, you can actually see the Fellowship running across the bridge, running away from the Balrog.
Yep.
While your party is like in that cave
Mhm.
battling whatever they're battling at that time. And I think you battle the Balrog before they do. I think you battling the Balrog causes the Balrog to run towards the other team.
I
So
believe
like
so.
they do all that kind of like mixing with the movies in there from the Fellowship of the Ring all the way to the Return of the King. Really cool concept. I wish they would do more stuff like that in licensed properties because it's so
Mhm.
cool
Mhm.
to have these like parallel stories going on at the same time that affect the movie. Even if it's not canon, it's still
Yeah.
pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, it had a great combat system. It was like I said, it was very simple, but it was very fun. Great music, great visuals for the time. Loved it. It's one of my favorite licensed games.
Yeah. All right. Good choice.
Mhm.
So the first item on my list just says Star Wars, and in
Okay.
parentheses, most of them.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, most of the Star Wars games are pretty good, which
Yeah.
makes sense because
Very few duds.
yeah, I mean it's a franchise that's full of action and adventure. You could not possibly ask for a better movie to turn into a video game.
Right.
And outside of a few rough starts in, well, the early days of gaming, because there have been
Mhm.
Star Wars games for basically as long as there have been video games,
Yep.
there's a lot of really good ones. And trying to narrow it down is genuinely one of the hardest tasks you could ask me to do
Oh
because
yeah.
there's
There's so many
so
to
many
pick
good
from.
ones.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm going to do?
Oh snap.
I am going to I am going to give a shout out to 3 games in particular that I
Oh.
don't think get the recognition they deserve. Because I could talk about Episode 1 Racer, I could talk about Rogue Squadron, I could talk about X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, I could talk about Knights of the Old Republic.
Mhm.
Everybody knows those ones. The
Mhm.
games that I don't think get quite the attention they deserve are the Super Star Wars trilogy on the Super
Oh,
Nintendo,
okay. Yeah.
which are spectacular side-scrolling platformer games. They follow the movies pretty close, but not
Mhm.
super close. There's, some stuff in
They're
there
Super
that
Nintendo,
they
so
throw in there for the game. But they're all really good.
and
They're
hard.
just they're pretty challenging. They also managed to throw in some other gameplay modes. There's like a speeder bike stage in
Mhm.
the Return of the Jedi game. There's the level on like the land speeder where you go into Jabba's palace.
Yeah,
Uh,
I
you
remember
know,
that.
all that kind of stuff. Yeah, they're great. They're great Super Nintendo games.
He plays multiple characters too.
Yep, you play as multiple characters, including Princess Leia gets so many different variants in the Return of the Jedi game because there's
Different
her
costumes.
like slave girl outfit, there's her bounty hunter disguise, there's her guerrilla fighter on Endor
Or
outfit. So her gameplay actually changes throughout the game. She's effectively a different character at different stages in the game, which is pretty cool. Because none of the other characters get that. Chewbacca is always Chewbacca, Han is always Han, Luke is always Luke, and you even play as Wicket in one stage, which I can do without,
I
but whatever.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
Cool.
Super Star Wars trilogy, great games. Play them.
Yes, absolutely. And I think they are available on modern consoles. I think they remastered them or re-released
They
them.
they should be.
Yeah.
They absolutely should be. They're great.
Okay. Let's see. What do I go with next? Yeah, I got to go for one of my favorite games of all time. Super Nintendo, Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time.
Yep. I
Um,
also have TMNT on my list because that was another one that I was just going to say most of them, because most of them are pretty good.
they are
Like
all almost
Turtles in Time, man.
so good.
We
Turtles in
we
Time.
we talked about it a little bit last time in passing, but absolute banger, great arcade game, and two excellent home conversions
Yep. Yeah, there's multiple versions of the game. There's Hyperstone
on the
Heist, Turtles in
Genesis,
Time,
and then there's
Manhattan Project, I think is the other one.
so Manhattan Project is the original game that they made for the NES. That's
NES,
Turtles
right?
3. But
Yeah.
yeah, Hyperstone Heist on Genesis, which has some different levels. And then there's the more straightforward adaptation on the Super Nintendo. I mean, there's that remake from the Xbox Live
Yeah, I'm
Arcade. But yeah,
definitely not talking about that
yeah,
one.
we don't need to talk about that. Um,
Yeah, Turtles in Time to me is the best beat 'em up of all time.
it's an absolutely spectacular game
The
and a
music in that
brilliant
game,
home conversion.
I could
Music,
listen to that soundtrack all day, every
yeah,
day.
it's
It's so
great.
good.
It's great. And you know what it does that I really appreciate? So there's that sound on keyboards. And I don't know what the instrument is called, but it's that very very fake like synthesizer hit
Mhm.
that I hate, but they use it really well in the very first level. I don't know anything about music, so I don't know what it's called,
Oh, you're
but
talking about when what's his name? Krang comes up and does the eye zaps? Is that what you're talking about?
no, no, no. It's a part of it's one of the musical instruments used in the
Oh,
music
I
for
see.
the first stage. You know, it's basically a remix of the Turtles theme.
Gotcha.
But there's a I'm sure you'll listen to it after the podcast. Yeah, and you'll know exactly what instrument I'm talking about. It's that weird sound that you only get on a keyboard, and they managed to make it work here, which
So
I've
good.
never heard anything else do. So for that alone, it's worth pointing out. But then it's
Almost every track in that game is like a
yeah,
banger. It's
yeah,
so
they're great.
yeah, great
And
gameplay, great music, co-op.
yeah,
This game,
and that's the thing is that the arcade version has four-player support, which
yeah,
you because four turtles. The Super Nintendo and Genesis versions obviously don't, but it almost like it doesn't matter because the
no,
rest of the conversion is so good.
so good. Yeah,
It's
and
great.
Four Turtles was good, but it was too chaotic. I
It could
found.
get really chaotic, yeah.
Yeah,
And like the reality is, even without the controller port limitations, like the Super Nintendo and Genesis wouldn't be able to handle that many
no,
sprites on screen, so it would have just turned into a big slow down mess.
yep,
So yeah, two players is fine, and obviously we got used to doing two players on the NES games. It wasn't really, we didn't even think about, oh, it doesn't have four player. It was like,
no,
hey man,
it's co-op.
it's co-op, it's a great home conversion. It's a way better home conversion than any of the Mortal Kombat games of the
Oh
day,
yeah,
any of the Street Fighter games of the day. It's
absolutely,
awesome.
so
It's
good.
just such a great game, and it never gets old throwing foot soldiers into the screen.
Into the screen,
It's
yeah,
the best
man,
part of that game.
so good. I mean, you have to do that for the Shredder fight, the first Shredder fight.
Yes, yes, because
So
because
good.
he comes up and he's like in the
The
way of the
machine.
camera.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he's going like this, and you have to
it's a
throw
great
him out.
fight.
So good, man. And
Great fight.
how they screwed up the remake is beyond me.
I don't know.
I mean, just take the game, make it look better. And there you go.
Or just fucking port the arcade version. That's what they did with the
Yeah,
X-Men arcade game, and that
yeah,
was
you can do
fine.
that too.
Just do that with Turtles in Time. Yeah, man.
Shredder's Revenge is really good, but it still doesn't
Shredder's
stack
Revenge
up
is really good.
to Turtles.
But hey, you know what? It's on the Ninja Turtles collection that
Yes,
came
it
out a
is.
little while ago, and it's
Yeah,
the arcade version.
yeah. I'm gonna pick that up when it goes on sale because
Yeah, I have that on the Switch because it's
so
like,
good,
hey, here's a whole shitload of Ninja Turtles games that I
including
played
the
as a kid.
Tournament Fighters game.
Yep, yep, which is also very good.
Very good. All right, what's your next one?
My next one. So this is one of the ones that might surprise you that it's an adaptation,
Stewed up.
which is Turok: Dinosaur Hunter.
Oh snap! That's right. It's a comic, right?
It is a comic book
That's
originally
right. Yeah.
and older than you might think. The Turok comics go back to like the 50s.
Oh, I did
They were
not know
like
that.
an old pulp, kind of like like the old like Tarzan or Doc Holliday kind of comic books from before superheroes like completely took over the American comic book genre. It's one of those, and the company that had the rights to it got acquired, and then they got acquired, and they got acquired, and eventually it ended up in the hands of Valiant Comics, which Acclaim then
I
acquired
was gonna say
and
Acclaim.
said, let's make a bunch of comic books based on these properties. And at that point, Turok had been reinvented from a like a period piece. It was set in like the 1700s, and it was about two Native American hunters, these brothers Turok and Andar, who got trapped in what they call the Lost Valley, which was a place that was shielded from the Ice Age, and so dinosaurs still exist there. They've continued to survive in that place, and that's where the dinosaur aspect of it comes from. But when Valiant got it, they rebooted it as a like science fiction thing, which I've read some of those Turok comics. They work. And then Acclaim turned it into a really fucking good game. And then they made a sequel that was also a really fucking good game.
Yeah, Seeds
And
of Evil.
then they made another sequel that was like,
Okay, that's
and
when
they
it went
made a
away.
spin-off that was okay, but really should have been on PC.
Yeah.
Who was thinking, oh yeah, let's make Rage Wars a 4-player offline game? That shit should have been online, like Quake 3.
Yeah, and then they made the
Then they made
reboot.
Turok Evolution, and we don't need to
Oh
talk
yeah,
about that.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
fun.
And that one time they tried to reboot it, which
Yeah, and that didn't go well either.
yeah. But we still got Turok 1 and 2.
Who owns the IP now? Oh, well, I bet you it's Embracer.
Fucking probably. But
because Acclaim's gone.
Night Dive. Oh yeah, Acclaim is long gone. Night Dive put out 2 very stellar remasters of Turok 1 and 2 a few years ago. You can get them on Steam. You can get them on Switch and PS4, and I believe also Xbox One. And I believe they're probably also backwards compatible with or forwards compatible with the more recent PlayStations and Xboxes. So
there you go.
Great. They're great. They are still a lot of fun today, and they even run at a higher frame rate now.
Yeah,
which is nice.
And the super weapons in that game are awesome.
Oh god, do you remember the slowdown?
Yeah,
the fucking
that made it more epic
cannon.
though.
Yeah, you get it down to like 2 frames per second. Wow,
yeah.
It's nuked the N64 itself.
Yeah, yeah. Even with the what would they call it, the expansion pack?
Expansion pack,
still didn't
on Turok 2, it didn't help that much. No.
Yeah, great games though.
Yep. So, what's your next one?
What do I want to go with here? Let me go with some. I'm gonna go with something more modern here. I'm gonna go with Mad Max.
Okay.
For PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC. I'm sure PC.
Probably.
That it did not sell well.
No, it didn't.
It didn't. That. But man, is it a good game? It is a open world, third person, almost akin to like Batman Arkham type game, type combat, where you're surrounded by bad guys and you have to duke it out and counter when they hit you, and you have a gun at times, and you can steal weapons, and and it obviously also had the greatness that was the what did he call his car? Oh, that's gonna bug me.
Oh, is it the Pursuit Special, I think? Or something like that? Oh, what is it?
It had a really like gruff name.
Yeah, it had a specific name, and it gets wrecked in every movie.
Yeah, you have the little gruff guy that sits in the car with you and he repairs it for you throughout the game. Can't remember what the damn name is called at the moment, but what an underrated game. I don't know how that game didn't sell well. It was great. The combat was the best part of the game, because melee is really tough to get down in games, I find, because the sensation of punching someone it very rarely in games translates to like you feel the punch. You know what I mean?
It's hard to reproduce the visceral nature,
especially in first person games.
Yeah,
obviously this is a third person game, but they get the punches really down really well, and there's like a little bit of a slow mo when you really knock them.
That's part of it. Is kind of like slowing down the animation for a moment on a really intense hit to make it feel like the impact really has weight. There's a lot of little things that go into making a punch feel good in a game.
Yeah, and he does like clotheslines, and he does like these really powerful kicks, and the guns in the game are not like, it's not like Call of Duty where you're firing 1,000 bullets a second.
No, you got to
Um,
conserve ammo.
you got to conserve ammo, and every shot you take counts, and
Mhm.
it makes a thud, and you really
Mm.
get that sensation. Story's pretty decent. It's a Mad Max
Sure.
story, so it's pretty good. Visuals are really good. It's pretty polished. Yeah, I can't recommend Mad Max more. It's so underrated. For those that have never played it, play it. It's really great.
I think probably what happened, because this is what happened with me, was people saw Fury Road and they saw that there was a game and they're like, "There's no
Must be
way
bad.
it can possibly be as good as Fury Road."
And it's not tied to the movie at all. It's its own
Really?
thing. Yeah, it's not. There's no like Mel Gibson's not in it, and neither is like whoever was it. Tom Hardy, I think, played
Yeah.
Fury Road. He's not in it. It's its own thing. It has
Hmm.
nothing. I'm sure it has similarities and all that stuff to Mad Max in general,
Mhm.
but it's its own story from what I remember. Original characters and all that stuff, and
Okay.
highly recommend Mad Max. Great game. I think I've played it 2 or 3 times. It's
Oh.
pretty long too. It's I don't know. It's probably 20 to 30 hours. It's
Okay.
pretty substantial, and the car combat's really good too.
Well, sure.
I mean, you would hope so for a Mad Max game.
Yeah. Right. It's kind of a
Yeah,
big
you can
deal.
customize your vehicle in like many different ways, and it's a lot of fun. Man,
Hmm.
I kind of want to play it now. So highly recommend that. What's your next one?
Okay, so I think we've danced around this one long enough. One
Here
of
it
us
comes.
has to say it.
Here
One
it
of us has
comes.
to say it. You know what it's going to be.
Here it
You
comes.
know what it's going to be. It is one of the most legendary adaptations of all time. It is a trend-setting title. It is an absolute classic for the N64. It is, of course, GoldenEye.
Golden.
Because
I
one of us
purposefully
had to say it.
I purposefully did not put it on my list because I
I
knew
thought
you
that
were going to.
I was like 50-50. Like, should I put it on my list? Because Trevor's going to. And obviously, you were thinking the exact same thing. And I said, you know what? We're doing some extra ones in case we've got overlaps. I might as well just put it on there. Can you imagine how embarrassing it would be if neither of us had put GoldenEye on the list? Like,
We got to have an honorable mentions at the end.
yeah, I mean, like it's
Yeah,
you cannot have this list without it
I
because
did my
it's
best to stay away from some of the obvious ones because I was just like,
right,
I've
right,
got
right.
deep history with the weird games. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but
and
yeah,
I like the weird ones as well.
yeah.
You
I
know,
mean,
it's
Goldeneye though,
but GoldenEye. I mean, GoldenEye. You got to make an exception for GoldenEye.
it's amazing.
Absolute classic. Cannot count how many birthdays, sleepovers, whatever,
Proximity mines,
turned into four-player mayhem.
rocket
God,
launchers only, golden gun only,
slappers only, just for shits and
uppers
giggles.
only.
Yeah. Or that one mode where you progressively, like, every kill you get a different, like, you go down the line of weapons
Until you have nothing left.
until
Yeah,
you just have the chop. Yeah, man. Who would
so
have
good.
thought that a game would have that many multiplayer modes? And we're only talking about multiplayer. We haven't even touched on the single player,
Yeah, which was
which
great as
was
well.
which was a big deal because, like, you think about shooters at the time, and it was all like the Doom, Duke Nukem, Quake, like keycard stuff, right?
Mhm.
And here comes GoldenEye and says, "Hey, you have objectives. It's not just about getting to the end of the level. You can get to the end of the level and still fail the mission because you let an important character die. You didn't plant the covert modem if you're playing on Double O Agent in the first level." And that's the thing is that the harder difficulties, they don't just buff the enemies; they give you
Yeah,
more
more objectives.
objectives.
Yeah, it's
So
so
it
cool.
actually changes what you have to do as you go through the level. Really, really clever.
Yeah,
And also the game that showed you could do first person shooters on game consoles. Now, obviously, it wasn't the first shooter to come out on a console. It wasn't even the first good one. I mean, I already talked about Turok, and Turok came out like 6 months before
I would
GoldenEye.
say it was the first good multiplayer console shooter.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Because, hell, even there was even a decent version of Doom on the PlayStation, but multiplayer?
Mm.
Mm.
The
I
only
mean,
co-op multiplayer I remember playing on a first-person shooter before GoldenEye would have been Duke Nukem. The co-op
mm,
Duke Nukem.
on the PlayStation or
I played it on the N64. I'm pretty sure. I think it was Duke
Mm,
Nukem N6 or Duke
yeah,
Nukem 64
yeah.
I'm
But
not sure if it came out before then.
But
Uh,
even that version of Duke Nukem is compromised because there's
yeah,
no
it's
music because they got to have the Duke quotes. They don't have enough memory
yeah,
for both the music and the Duke quotes.
yeah, baby.
Yeah, and even then they cut out like some of the raunchier ones because Nintendo.
Because it's Nintendo. Yeah,
Yeah, we can show you blowing guys into chunks, but strippers are a no no.
nope, can't do it.
Although I will say about Duke Nukem 64, you do actually rescue the babes, which is a nice touch.
You do?
You don't rescue them in the original Duke 3D. You just kind of leave them there, which is like, what about nobody steals our chicks and lives, man? That's literally what he starts. You start the second episode. He's like, nobody steals our chicks and lives. It's like, then why did you leave him tied up in the slime, dude?
You do a pretty damn good Duke Nukem. That was pretty good. I thought I was talking to Duke for a second.
uh,
Yeah,
but GoldenEye, man, it was a
I still love
revolutionary.
I still love the explosions in that game. They're
The
so cool.
explosions that go on for like 10
Yeah, they're way
seconds.
too long, but they're so cool.
And also chairs and desks explode. But
Yeah, that was always weird.
it was
Garbage
weird. But
cans.
being able to destroy parts of the environment was such a new and crazy thing back then.
Yeah.
And you know what? You would think that maybe GoldenEye doesn't hold up today.
Oh, it definitely
And
does.
if you play it with a controller, it's a little rough because now we're used to the dual analog, and going back
Yeah,
to the single analog is tough.
and
There,
having to pull down the R was it the right
yeah,
bumper,
the right
and then you
trigger to
get the
bring up the aiming reticle, yeah. But there is a version of the Nintendo 64 emulator, 1964. There are several N64 emulators. There is a version of that emulator that has been specifically customized for GoldenEye and Perfect Dark that have mouse and keyboard injection. So you
nice.
can play those games with mouse and keyboard as if they were just native PC titles.
That would be pretty fun.
And you know what? It fucking holds up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It holds up really well, and you get to play Perfect Dark like at a double-digit frame rate, which is nice.
Yeah, that game is so bad for its frame rate,
it,
but
it
it's
pushed
good
the
though.
N64 beyond what it could do. They should have held off and made it a
Was that the
GameCube
first
title.
game that came with the expansion pack? I'm pretty sure it was, right? Perfect Dark.
No, Donkey Kong Country
Oh
64.
yeah, that's right.
But yeah,
Which
Perfect
was
Dark
not
did
good.
require it for the
It did require it. Yeah.
yeah
Yeah,
for
you couldn't play anything other than the training mission. I
yeah, I
think.
believe training missions only.
Yeah, which is kind of bizarre that they would sell it. Like what a scam
Yeah,
back then.
yeah.
You don't have it. Oh well, you only get a tenth of the game. Cool.
I guess it's better than nothing, but it still
Yeah, little
it should. I
scam.
don't remember if it came with it, but it really should have if it didn't.
It probably had a version that came with it,
It
but I
might
don't
it might have had
remember.
a bundle. Yeah,
Yeah,
the expansion pack and the 64 DD that was a whole
that was
debacle
yeah,
because I mean that was originally going to be what the RAM expansion was going to be. It was going to be part of the 64 DD, but we all
yep.
know how that went.
Yeah. Nintendo was weird back then.
Well, Nintendo's always been weird.
Well, that's true. All right.
So GoldenEye, but on to your next one.
Yeah. Let me think here. I'm gonna go back in time again a little bit.
Hit me
Not
with it.
too far, but a little bit back in time. This is one I cheated on a little bit. So I have two of this property on my list. I'm gonna try and not use the other one, depending on how we go back and forth.
Okay.
So this is Marvel. Is
Really? I was sure it was going to be Star Wars.
No, I do have one Star Wars on there, but I'm trying to avoid it
I
right now.
was 100% certain that it was going to be Rogue Squadron and Knights of the Old Republic were going to be your two from the same
I had
franchise.
I had one of those moments where I was looking through all of the licensed games and was like, man, I could put this whole list could just be Star Wars,
It
really.
could be. That's why I
So
put most of them next
that's
to
when
it.
I could that's when I decided I was gonna make it at least try to make it a rule of one
One
per
game per franchise.
yeah.
Yeah, which is
Um,
also what I tried to do here.
yeah, and I failed in this because I have a second Marvel game on here, but I'll try and avoid
All
that one
right.
now that I'm using this one. But this is my one of my favorite Marvel games. Um, Still holds up today. I wouldn't say it's the best Marvel game anymore now that we have the Spider-Man series on PlayStation.
Sure.
But this is Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
Ooh,
It was on
good
PlayStation
choice.
2, I think, and
Yes,
GameCube and
good choice.
OG Xbox. Yeah,
From the makers of Prototype.
yeah, which was not as good.
I liked Prototype.
It's fine.
It's
Prototype sucks,
fine.
but Prototype was
But yes, Hulk Ultimate Destruction, considered putting it on my list, but I kind of said I think he'll have that one.
yes. This game came out of left field so far when it came out. I was like, because like back then, Marvel games sucked. I don't want to put the
There was
developers down, but
Spider-Man 2, the movie game.
that was probably the only good Marvel
That
game
was
back
like
then.
well, I mean, there
The
was
PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2 era up until this game and Spider-Man 2 was just trash.
I thought
You know,
the N64 Spider-Man was okay, but it's not Spider-Man 2, and it's not Hulk
no,
Ultimate
it's
Destruction.
yeah, exactly. So for those that didn't play it, Hulk Ultimate Destruction, you play as Hulk. You are basically let loose on what city is it? Don't know. Probably New York, but
Who
I
the
have no
fuck cares?
idea.
It's ground zero now, is what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. It's a
That's what
gigantic.
every city becomes when the Hulk comes
Yeah,
into town.
you can destroy buildings. You can literally you can pick up cars and put them on his gloves so that you can beat people with them. You can grab helicopters and tanks and throw them. Like
hmm
when they say ultimate destruction in the title, they mean ultimate destruction. This game is just you're Hulk and you're smashing things.
It's like
What I mean,
Rampage World Tour.
yeah. Yeah, Rampage in 3D. It's
Yeah.
really really good. It is mindless and it does get a little repetitive at the end,
Sure.
but it is. I
By the
mean,
time you get there, you've
you've had
had
your
your
fill.
fill.
Yeah, it doesn't overstay its welcome, and it's great. I can't believe they never made a sequel. That's one thing that really confused me. I
Yeah.
was like,
Well,
really?
I mean, like I said, they probably went on to Prototype after that.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, they kind of use that tech, the tech from Ultimate Destruction in that. But
hmm
yeah, Hulk Ultimate Destruction. If you haven't played it, check her out. PlayStation 2, GameCube, original Xbox, probably
Yeah,
PC.
it's on everything, I think.
What's your next one?
Oh man, I got a few really good ones here. And I'm thinking about, you know what? I'm going to go with one that's kind of a technicality, but I think we'll both accept it. It
All
is
right,
Dungeons and Dragons Shadow over Mystara. So here's why it's a technicality.
it is a
Dungeons
technical.
and Dragons is a game already. It's like you're adapting a game
Well,
into another game.
it's a tabletop
It's a
RPG developed
tabletop
into a video
RPG,
game.
and
I would accept it.
this is why I say I think it's okay, because if it was Baldur's Gate, it's like, well, yeah, but that's basically just playing a D&D campaign, which is
Yeah.
cool, but
Yeah.
it's not really much of an adaptation. Shadow over Mystara is a
Is this
fucking
the
beat
beat 'em
'em up
up?
from
Yeah.
Capcom,
Yeah,
and
from Capcom.
is
Very
a
little known game.
really good game. Is a really good game. It has beautiful art.
Yep.
In fact, the different character classes have multiple iterations of themselves that are not just palette swaps. Like
Right.
there are multiple completely different designs for the wizard, for the rogue, like for all of them. So it's not just a palette swap. That's a lot of attention to detail.
Yep.
And I mean, they're beat 'em ups, so there's not really that much to say. If you've played a beat 'em up, you know
Yeah,
what
you
it's
know what a
like.
beat 'em up is. Yeah.
But this is a good one.
Yeah,
This is a really good
absolutely.
one, and they even went to the effort of trying to incorporate some aspects of Dungeons and Dragons in there, where they have you making choices about what you will do in the game, which
That's cool.
changes which levels you go to.
Was this a SNES?
This was an arcade game. It never got a home conversion
Never got a port? Oh.
until more recently.
I was gonna say, 'cause I've seen it on the Xbox store,
Yes,
so
there
that
is a
doesn't
home
help.
conversion of it now. There's it's called Chronicles of Mystara because it also has Tower of Doom, which was the
Okay.
other D&D beat 'em up that they made,
Gotcha.
but Mystara is the better one.
Gotcha.
It's basically everything that was good about Tower of Doom, but also now even more better because it's Capcom. They know how to make a beat 'em up.
I think I will add that to my wish list and,
Yeah,
play that out.
it's on Steam, has online play.
My computer should run it, I'm sure.
Come on, dude. It's a
It can
fucking
run Dungeonborn. It can run.
it's a
It can run.
'90s arcade game, dude. It
Yeah.
will absolutely run it.
Cool.
Yes, and went on to inspire what was that game with the huge titted sorceress, Dragon's Crown, right? I believe
Oh
that's what it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Has Champ, has multiple choice paths. Um, the wizard character has spells, like the rogue character has like items that she can use.
Do they
It's
level up?
yes, they do, and
That's
they get
cool.
new abilities as the game goes on.
That's so cool.
It is very very cool. And so even though it's a game adapted from a game, I was like, it's different enough. It's not a tactical RPG, it's a beat 'em up. And also
Mhm.
it's really fucking good. Which is the most important thing.
I'm glad that beat 'em ups are kind of making a resurgence right now.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
not they're not. It's not at the point where there's like 1,000 of them, but like Streets of Rage 2 came or 4 came out.
4 came out,
You know,
yes.
and Double
Uh,
Dragon's not doing very well, but it's
well,
out
yeah,
there.
Double Dragon has like they've tried to bring Double Dragon back a
Yeah,
lot, and it's kind of been kind of a mixed bag.
yeah,
But the River City Ransom
yeah.
uh, has come back. You know, when I was doing research and looking through lists of games, I found that there was a feudal era take on River City Ransom back on the NES that I'd never fucking heard of before. This was like yesterday that I found this out. I was like, oh, I gotta fucking download the ROM of this and play it
Yeah.
because like it's literally been fan translated because it was never released in North America, but it's just River City Ransom, but like in feudal Japan. I was like, fuck
That's
yeah,
yeah. That
play
sounds like
that.
yeah,
I'll absolutely play
absolutely.
that.
That's cool.
So yeah, beat 'em ups. I think it's because there's just so many more ways to do those kind of games now, like the Arkham games, for example, which
Hmm.
may be on your list. Uh,
Possibly, maybe, possibly,
maybe.
maybe, possibly.
There's so many ways to do a game where you take on a bunch of guys that the sort of side-scrolling move into the foreground and background beat 'em up formula it just isn't as relevant as it used to be.
No.
But when you've got an idea to do it right or to just bring back an old classic like Streets of Rage, no reason not to.
Do it.
Yep, it's a lot cheaper than building one of those Arkham games. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. Um. Let's see. When do I go with my next one? I'm not gonna go the Batman route.
It's too obvious.
Too
It's too
obvious.
obvious.
I'm gonna go with one that So I am not a fan of the license per se. Um However,
But you like the game?
this game uh at one point was in my top 10 games of all time,
Oh, okay.
despite me not liking the IP. Um it's been bumped since just because
Other good stuff has come out.
yeah,
It
there's only so many
happens.
games that can hold that top 10 spot.
Sure.
Um, but the game is The Walking Dead Season 1 from Telltale.
I was wondering which one of us was going to put a Telltale game on here,
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of Telltale
I
games.
I was really close to putting Sam and Max, like just in general, because that's a
Mm,
comic book originally.
yep.
But my list was already getting kind of long,
Yeah,
so
it's already
I
tough.
was like, you know what? I'll leave it off. I'm sure Trevor will bring up The
Yeah,
Walking Dead.
I was a big fan of the Telltale games in general. They
Mhm.
did obviously screw up that studio by not
Yeah,
updating their engine,
yeah.
but they have some absolute gems in
Mhm.
there, and it was really tough for me to pick between this and The Wolf Among Us because The Wolf
Mm.
Among Us is so good. But The Walking Dead season 1 was the first Telltale game I played
Mhm.
to completion. Now, I will specifically say this is season 1 that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I did play season 2. I did not play season 3 or 4.
Mm.
Season 1 is flawless storytelling, in my opinion. It's so good.
It's pretty powerful stuff.
The ending of that season, games do not make me sad. They do not typically pull on my heartstrings. But the end scene of this game
That
is
one is
so
rough.
powerful.
Yeah,
Brutal.
it's hard to watch.
It's the acting is so perfect. Everything
Mhm.
about it is just. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who out there who hasn't.
Who doesn't know what happens
Yeah,
there?
if you haven't played it, just go play it. It's a little janky, not gonna lie,
A little.
but the story is what you're there for, and holy crap, is it good! Um, I can't say enough good things about it. The cast is amazing. It has nothing
Mhm.
to do with the show. It is its own thing.
I mean, Glenn shows up once, but he's not even voiced by the same guy from the show, I don't think.
I don't even think he's in season 1. I think he's in one of the.
I'm pretty sure he's in season 1.
Is
Didn't
he?
he show up briefly?
Let's see. Is Glenn in Walking Dead season 1 Telltale? What's his last name? Is it
I-
Ree?
I don't know.
It says Glenn Ree is a minor character that appears in season 1.
It's got to be.
It says he's a pizza delivery driver, so I don't think that's him.
Yeah, I think that's his job before all the shit went down.
I mean, I guess it would be easy to just look up the name of the guy from the show.
Yeah.
Walking Dead. You are correct.
Oh, okay. There we go.
That is Glenn Ree. Well, I did not know that. That is cool. So I guess that's the really only crossover, but I think he's just a minor. He has a minor appearance in season.
Yeah.
1. Clearly, it's minor because I didn't even know. But man, yeah, it's such a good game.
Mhm. Also, something that I don't think people give that game enough credit for is it can be really funny at times.
Oh yeah, it's got some good comedy.
There's a part where they go to the farm and they find a salt lick and and he's like, "Did you lick it?" And Clementine's like, "I don't know," which is such a little kid thing to say when the answer is yes, but you don't want to admit to it. I laughed so hard at that scene. It was such a great reaction.
Yeah. Oh man. I have so many memories that I could share about it, but I could go on for like 10 years about that game.
Yeah, so. There's a lot to say, especially because there's different ways that can play out.
Yeah. I
agree with you, man.
The game left me speechless. So
yeah, it was pretty hard hitting stuff.
That being said, like I said, I hate the actual IP.
I fell off The Walking Dead really hard.
The show is so stupid. I can't.
There's
literally no point to the show. None.
It started out really, really powerful, and then
the first season is fantastic of that show, and then they fuck it up by saying there's no cure.
Yeah,
okay. So what's the point of the show?
Yeah, like it. Man, and the comic, I felt the same way about the comics. Is that I read them up to a point, and then it gets to a point where it feels like they've
soap opera.
Well, they've forgotten how to tell a good story, so like, oh, let's shock people by killing off this character. But they reach this point where they're killing off characters because like, oh, nobody is safe, but they're killing them off so fast that you don't have time to get attached to the new ones, and they just kill them off. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I see where this is going.
Yeah, and now there's 4 Walking Dead shows simultaneously.
Fuck. Yeah.
Who is watching it?
I don't know. Hideo Kojima, I guess.
Yeah, there could be a whole episode on how bad those shows are, but
yeah, well, it's you die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
That's exactly.
I have this theory that maybe this is maybe pulling back the curtain a little bit, but there's been discussion about a more general purpose podcast that you have plans
to do. Yeah, we may talk about it there.
Yeah, and I actually, incidentally, I have some ideas for the logo I've been working on because I haven't given you an update on that in a while. But I have like a whole theory about the maximum number of seasons that a TV show can run for before they have to start resorting to stupid shit. just to keep it running. And it's something that you and I can sort of pass back and forth and form it into something more than just the lump of clay that it
Cohesive.
currently is. But in my head, the number is about 8 seasons at most.
Wow, so Supernatural must have really sucked.
Well,
About 15
the
seasons?
reason I say 8 is because I look at stuff like Star Trek TNG, I look at the X Files, I look at The Simpsons, and it's like TNG, X Files, both went about that long. The Simpsons kind of started to fall off around, like,
Yeah,
not exactly at the 8 season mark, but
in and around that
sort of.
time.
That's where the drop off started to
There's
happen.
only so much material that you can use,
Yeah,
right? Like
and
before.
that's why I think you probably got at most about 8 seasons before you kind of run out of all the good material that you could possibly do with the show. But that's a discussion for another time.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Your next game.
my next game.
Right, we're at 5, I think.
1, 2, 3, 4. I've done 4, so this will be
Okay,
this will be
this will
number
be your
5.
5th.
Do I go with something expected or do I go with something unexpected? I think I'll go with something unexpected.
I like the unexpected ones.
Parasite Eve on the PlayStation.
That's a franchise?
That is a sequel to a book.
Really?
Yes. The book is referenced. I don't know. When was the last time you played Parasite Eve? It's probably been a while.
It came out probably.
so like 25 years ago.
Oh yeah. Very
Yes.
little memory of it. Isn't it Resident Evil like in its gameplay?
It is Resident Evil like, but it's a turn-based RPG with one character that is a survival horror game. But it kind of works. Weirdly.
Yeah.
Parasite Eve 2 is a straight up survival horror like Resident Evil.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. And you play as a girl, right?
Yeah.
And she's got like a black suit.
Like she has like the black leather jacket and the blonde hair.
Yeah.
I think you might have played the second one then.
Yeah, it sounds like the second one.
Okay, so the first game alludes to the book, which if there's anything you remember, it's probably the word mitochondria, which gets used about 7,000 times in that game.
That due to bad translation, or is it just
no? That's the plot, because it's about an evolutionary mutation where mitochondria becomes the brains of the cell instead of the nucleus. So the word is going to come up a lot. It's going to come up a lot. You will see that word in the game more than you will in any biology textbook ever written.
Is there any voice acting in the game?
No.
Oh, okay. So it's just text.
No, it's all text. But
it's a long word to take up text on a screen.
It's a very long word. It's where I first saw that word, and I was like, "What the fuck?
What does that mean?" That's funny.
But the storyline of the book is alluded to by a character from Japan who shows up in the game. The game takes place in New York, but a Japanese man shows up, and he mentions there was an incident similar to this a few years ago in Japan, and that is what the book is based. That's what the book is, and the game is technically Parasite Eve 2 because it's a sequel to the book, and Parasite Eve 2 would then, I guess, technically be Parasite Eve 3.
So the book was called Parasite Eve as well?
Yes, the book was called Parasite Eve as well, and there was also a film adaptation of it in Japan. I don't know if that came out before or after the game.
Animated.
The point is, it was a book originally. But yes, it was a survival horror turn-based RPG with a single playable character from Squaresoft, which is one of the wildest combinations of words that I think you could possibly put together, outside of the fact that Square was doing some really experimental stuff on the PS1. Also, here's a fun fact. It's also technically the plot that was discarded for Final Fantasy VII, in a way. Final Fantasy VII was originally slated to take place in New York City.
Really?
Really.
That's a good thing that changed.
It's a good but you can see it, right? It takes place in a big high-tech metropolitan city where everybody gets around on the subway.
The earth is dying and
Yeah. Also, the Final Fantasy Spirits Within movie, where does that take place? New York City.
Right.
You can see how they didn't
Weird
want to
movie.
let that idea go.
Huh.
So Parasite Eve is in a way related to the initial concept for Final Fantasy VII because it's an RPG that's set in the real world and in New York City.
Interesting.
Very
Huh.
interesting.
Yeah, I did not know any of that. That's really
Yep,
cool.
it's a pretty good game. It's a little bit dated, but
Yeah.
I mean some of these games are. But I mean, as is typical for SquareSoft, it had mind blowing FMV sequences. Um, and it spans the last week of 1998. It starts on Christmas Eve of 1998 because, of course, it does. You know, the game is called Parasite Eve. It has to start on Christmas Eve, and it ends on New Year's Eve.
So
You
it's
know,
one day.
no, it's a
Oh.
week. So it starts on Christmas Eve, ends
Oh
on New
yeah,
Year's
yeah, yeah.
Eve,
Week. Sorry. Yeah, yeah.
and
Right.
the ending of the game is like the sun rising on New Year's Day after the big battle with the giant mutant opera singer.
That's a cool concept.
Yep, yep. Very very interesting game. Very outside of what Square had been doing up to that point, but like I said, they were doing a lot of weird experimental stuff on the PlayStation. They made fighting games. They made several fighting games. Um, and they made racing games. They made an arcade shoot 'em up. They were doing all sorts of weird stuff, and it was a pretty good time for them. So that is my number five.
My number six. Let's see. Most of these are more modern. Again, I'm gonna continue to go with the unexpected ones.
Go for it.
The movie that this game is based on did not do super well. I don't think it reviewed very well. I'm not sure how it sold, but I think everyone remembers it. I never actually saw the movie. I think I watched like the opening 10 minutes and was like, I have no interest in this movie. That is Wanted.
Oh
Uh,
God.
the movie that is mostly famous for having Angelina Jolie, I believe.
Yep.
Is it Angelina Jolie
Yeah, and Morgan Freeman and
and the guy from
James McAvoy
yes, James McAvoy.
and Curving the
Um,
Bullets.
Curving the Bullets was the big thing,
So
and
I laugh because my mom and I tried to watch that movie and we got about halfway through it and we just kind of looked at each other and said, eh.
yeah,
But I've heard the game was really fun.
yeah. So the game was very very well done. It was a third person shooter, with the
Bullet
curving the bullet
curving.
mechanic.
Yeah.
Um, it almost felt like cheating, because you would
And I
it
mean,
was
it is kind of cheating.
yeah, well, it was a cover-based shooter, kind of like
Yeah.
Gears of War, but you'd just be like, "Oh,
Flick of
that
the
guy's behind
wrist
cover."
and
Phew, and then it would shoot the guy behind cover and kill him in one hit, but you had to build up the
yeah,
curve of
yeah,
the
yeah.
meter, so it
Yeah,
wasn't
it's just same as the bullet time in Max Payne. You can't just
yeah, you
use
had
it
to build up
infinitely.
the meter in order to use it, so, um, it's nothing like, AAA amazing, but
Yeah, it's a
it
movie license game.
but it hooked me, and I played it to completion. I definitely don't remember anything about the story, I just remember being
Well.
thoroughly having fun curving bullets.
I mean,
Um,
it's a simple pleasure.
yep, it was called Wanted Weapons of Fate. Was
All
the
right.
full title of the game. I think it was for PS3 and 360. Um, if you can find it for $5,
You could do a lot worse.
you could do a lot worse with $5. Yeah, I thought I would bring it up just because I remember playing it, and it was one
I
of
haven't thought about that movie in so long.
yeah,
But as soon as you said you only got through 10 minutes of it, I was like, oh, yeah, I remember that part.
yeah.
I remember that movie.
I
I
should try
think
and go back and watch it
the
and see it.
best part of that movie is probably when he gets fed up at his job and smacks a guy with a keyboard and the word fuck you is spelt out, even though there's two U's in fuck you and there's only one U on the keyboard. So
Smash.
it doesn't
Yeah,
make any sense, but who cares? It's funny.
yeah. No, the only reason I remember the game is honestly I didn't even remember it. I literally just went through my collection. I was scanning all the names, and I'm like, is there any more
Yeah. No,
names in
that's a
here?
good way to do it.
It's literally the last game in my
And it
my.
popped out to you, and you're like, "Oh yeah, that thing."
I have my
Yeah.
games alphabetized, and it was the last one
Oh
of
yeah, I
the
don't.
section. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, Wanted. That was
Yeah. The
decent.
most organization I have is that my games and my movies are separate.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
about it.
I'm super OCD when it comes to
Yeah,
organization.
yeah.
Everything behind me is alphabetized.
Yeah. I noticed you've got that nice solid blue streak of PlayStation games there.
That's PS4 right across.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Yep.
then we got DS and then 3DS.
Yep.
And there's some Wii U, some
Hmm.
PlayStation 2s. They're all over. And
I
then
gotta come
again,
over sometime
check out this place. Yeah.
and go through your games. We'd have a lot of fun with a lot of those, I'm sure.
Oh, well, I can't play 90% of them because I only have the modern consoles hooked up.
Well, we can solve that. That's easily rectified.
I don't even have the cables for the old systems. I have the systems. They're all over here. It would actually be really cool if I could have a desk set up where you could see everything in the background. But
Yeah.
they're all the systems are in
I
this
mean, I got
cabinet right here.
cables, man. I got cables for days.
Yeah, I
Dude,
have.
I've got component cables for the PS2.
Oh
It
yeah,
looks
that's.
really good on component.
I wonder if my TV even has component.
Well, maybe.
I'd have to check. But yeah, I've
My
got
TV has component.
everything over there. I've N64, Super Nintendo, GameCube, Wii U, original Xbox 360, Genesis,
You can't see, but I've got the biggest grin on my face. uh,
and I'm missing one. There's one other system on that shelf. I don't remember what it is.
dude, it's heartbreaking. I still need to get my Super Nintendo fixed. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean,
My Xbox is broken, technically. I
emulation
used to have it.
makes it easy to not worry about that too much.
I used to have a shit. What are they called? The little boxes. Something berry.
Oh, Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, I had a Raspberry Pi that had
Yeah,
all the NES and Super Nintendo games on it, and it broke
yeah,
because
yeah.
there's
Oh,
problem is those things are so light.
yeah,
A slight breeze will knock them off your shelf.
yeah.
So it fell one day, and it was just like,
Oh
well,
no,
that's that thing.
that's
Luckily, they're pretty cheap, so if I ever
yeah,
want it again, I
yeah.
can pick one up for like
They're like $50, I think.
it's crazy cheap.
Yep, yep.
But anyway, so yeah, Wanted, Weapons of Fate. Your next one. So you're on 6.
My next one. So I got a few I could choose here. Oh yeah, I just scrolled down and saw another one. I think I'm going to save that one for last.
Okay.
um, so I'm going to pick. This is a little bit of a weird one. Maui Mallard. Did you ever play this?
Never heard of this one.
So this is a fun one. This was a Disney game. It was Donald Duck, but as a character. Like, you know how sometimes like you have like the Disney's A Christmas Christmas character, Jesus, A Christmas Carol, where it's Mickey Mouse, but he's Bob Cratchit in
Hmm.
A Christmas Carol. Well, this is Donald Duck as Maui Mallard, who is a detective uh, who also becomes a ninja, which is a weird thing.
What was this for? What's
This
this?
is for Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis.
So it was a side scroller.
It was a side scroller, and I remember thinking, there's no way that this is going to be good, but it's weird enough that I'm going to give it a try. And god damn it, it was actually pretty fun.
Kind of like Ducktales and a bunch of other games.
Spoilers, DuckTales is also on my list. It's literally the one above Maui Mallard.
You have 2 duck games? How'd that
Yeah.
happen?
Well, I put down DuckTales and I was like, oh yeah, Maui Mallard. I gotta talk about that one too.
That's funny.
That's such a weird one. But
That is
yeah, it was a strange concept, and yet it somehow worked like really well for the time. I haven't played it in years. I don't know how well it holds up, but I remember it being a lot of fun back in the day. So yeah, check it out.
cool. Also, I just realized I have 3 Marvel games on my list. I didn't even recognize that one of them was a Marvel. So I'm gonna try and avoid those if I can.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with one that's just man. It's a game I probably spent 200 plus hours on when I was a
Oh
kid.
wow.
N64. It is WWF No Mercy.
See, so this is one of the ones that I thought about maybe having or not having, but I like look. The way I see it is if I can put Dungeons and Dragons, which is already a game, I think you can probably put a
Put
wrestling
WWF
game on there.
a
And I
sports game,
I thought about putting WCW NWO Revenge on my
which
list,
is
but
almost exactly the same game,
yeah,
except
because it's from the same
same
developer.
developer. Yeah, they just
Yeah,
basically took that engine and made No Mercy. If I remember correctly.
yeah, and yeah, No Mercy is obviously is a classic, and I was
One
like,
of the best wrestling games of all time.
Trevor's gonna have a wrestling game on there. There's no way he's not gonna have a wrestling game on there. I don't need to double up on that.
Yeah, I tried to. It was a toss up between one of the modern ones, which was 2K19,
Hmm.
which I think is probably the best modern wrestling game.
They
The
had a
problem
few
with
rough ones, didn't they?
20 was the when it went to shit. Because when they released 2K20, that was when I think it was Ukes left the development team.
Oh, they
So the only team they had to work on it was
some B team.
well there so the games had always been developed by Ukes and this other team, and so it was just the other team
Oh,
that
so
was
they
working on it. They worked
okay.
together on it. So it was just like all of a sudden the team got cut in half.
Oh
And
God,
because it's a
yeah,
yearly release, they
yeah,
were like, "Oh shit, we gotta do the whole game ourselves,"
yeah. Oh,
and
that's
it was
rough.
so buggy. It was so
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, it was awful. But they've come back and the games are great again.
Okay.
But yeah, I was debating on 2K19 because I think that was where the peak of wrestling, modern wrestling games.
Hmm.
It hasn't surpassed that yet. But No Mercy is still amazing. Up, 4 player N64. It's ugly as shit nowadays,
Sure,
but
but I mean, back
it's
then it
so
looked
fun.
fine.
Yeah, back then it looked fine, but it's so fun to play still today.
Yeah, yeah,
Classic gameplay, 3D still. You get your momentum gauge. You got the classic wrestlers. You got The Rock, you got Stone Cold, Triple H, Undertaker,
yeah.
Mankind,
You have that era where like all of the big
all
names
the
are
big names
still
there.
alive.
The Attitude Era, yeah. Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, the name we shouldn't say anymore.
The name we shouldn't
Uh,
say, but this is before the roid rage.
yeah. Chris Jericho. I mean, the list goes on and on. I could go on and on, but yeah, I spent 200 plus hours with that game. It's just everything about it is so good. The campaign mode is probably, or the career mode's kind of bad because the writing is terrible and
Well,
some of the
it's
sound effects are bad. But it's
yeah,
wrestling. What can you do?
yeah,
But from a pure nostalgia and gameplay perspective,
yeah. Those games were fine,
yeah,
totally fine.
I remember when there was a rumor that they were gonna take No Mercy and update it with all the current wrestlers and release it on like the modern consoles, and it never happened, and I was so
Wow.
sad. I was
Yeah,
like, they should have done that. That would have made so much money.
yeah. I wonder what the license negotiation for all that would be,
It's a good
especially
question.
if they were going to include like a lot of the old wrestlers, because like a lot of those people have like moved on to other
Oh yeah, that's a
promotions.
well. I mean, if they removed the roster from No Mercy and just put in the current roster, then they'd be fine.
Yeah, but then like, isn't half the fun of No Mercy having the old school '90s roster?
So in the current games, current WWE, I can't speak. When current WWE is very different than it was back then. Vince McMahon's no longer owns the company.
Hmm.
The is it Endeavor owns it, which is the UFC guys.
Hmm.
And they treat the wrestlers much better, and they have Legends deals for all the legends. So if you're retired, you can get a Legends deal with WWE, and that will allow them to pay you for the rights to use merchandise and
Oh, so that's how they
game.
still get like The Rock and stuff. Is
Exactly. So the current modern wrestling games have all the classic wrestlers.
Okay.
You got Rock, Stone Cold, Roddy Piper, The Undertaker.
Rest
They're
in
all
peace.
Hulk Hogan, I think, is in them.
I don't know if I'd want to have Hulk Hogan.
They still have a relationship with him, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, after some of the things he said, it's
Yeah. But there is some wrestlers missing from it, unfortunately, because for whatever reason they just don't want to have a Legends deal with the company, which is weird to me. It's like it's free money. Why would you not take it?
Well, they might. I don't know. It might involve them forfeiting their rights for other potential deals. I don't know.
Oh,
I'm not.
maybe. Yeah, it could be exclusive deal. You're right.
Yeah, like I'm not anywhere near plugged into the world of wrestling as much as you are, so I don't know the extent of that stuff. But I'm just thinking, like in general terms, like it might be an exclusive licensing
No, you're
thing.
probably right. They're for the most part though. They're if you can think of an Attitude Era wrestler, they're probably in the game.
Okay.
But yeah. So No Mercy.
Now here's the thing: do they have a Legends deal for Doink?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was taking the piss.
No, I don't think he's in every game, but he's definitely in some of them. You know what's funny about that though is that Doink is like 5 different people.
Yeah.
It's not even one guy.
No,
so
it's not.
I think they might just have. I think WWE might actually just own the rights to
Doink. To the character. They might. They might.
Because these days WWE typically tries to own
the persona.
So
which I mean, kind of sucks. Like I think if you spend time building up a gimmick.
Well, a lot of the indie wrestlers that they bring on that are already popular, they won't do it for those ones. They'll let them keep their ownership. But anything that's built in WWE,
like if they get somebody from like New Japan Pro Wrestling or something,
yeah, they'll let them keep their
okay.
Basically, they'll assign them to a WWE contract, which says they currently own their name as long as they're under contract.
For the purposes of merchandising and franchising
but if they leave,
and stuff
they
like that.
retain.
But if they leave, they retain. Okay, yeah, okay. That's a good way of doing it.
Yeah. The Vince McMahon days of all that bullshit is long gone.
Good.
Yeah.
All right.
You're on
next game. So should I just say Duck? Fuck it. I'm gonna just say DuckTales.
DuckTales.
Everybody likes DuckTales.
That's the one where he's
poke sticking right? On the moon. Yeah, classic NES game. Got a great remake several years ago from Way Forward, the Shantae people.
Way Forward is great, man.
They're awesome. They do a lot of good work. I don't know.
Spoilers, there may be a game from Way Forward on my list.
Oh, what a shock. What a surprise. I don't know when those people find time to sleep because it seems like they're always doing something. They've really
them and Digital Eclipse. They do great stuff.
Yeah, they do tremendous work over at Way Forward, and the DuckTales remake was great. I was at Fan Expo shortly after the game came out, and Sony had a booth there, run by their series of identical blonde clones. But they diversified. They got some brunettes the next year, but I was walking around the Sony booth and one of the clones says, "Do you want to play DuckTales?" And I was like, "I've already bought DuckTales because it was that good." It was. Didn't have to wait on that. It's a classic game, great remake, great original. I feel like people don't talk about the sequel that much, but I mean, when the first one's that good, like.
I think they re-released the original in a Disney Classics collection too.
I'm sure they did. They came out with a Disney thing a while ago. It had it had the Super Nintendo Aladdin in there. Oh, that's one I should have put on my list. Shit.
Yeah, that's a good one. I considered putting that one on my list too. Yeah. No, there was an NES Disney's Classics game, and I can't remember the other 3 games that were on it now.
There are so many of those classic collections now. It's almost impossible to keep track of them.
I'm gonna search for it. Disney
Konami has a bunch of them. I own a few.
No, not that. Oh yeah, there was the Super Nintendo one where they had Aladdin and the Lion King and
God, that Lion King game was fucking hard.
Yeah, that was a really brutal.
The fucking
I don't remember the Jungle Book game.
Just Can't Wait to Be King stage.
Oh yeah, we have to jump across
the giraffes and the monkeys. Holy shit, that's a game for children. What were they thinking?
they were thinking make it as hard as you can
So
because
they
so they
have to
play it
buy
over
the
and
game
over and over.
instead of renting it.
Exactly.
Fucking yeah, of course.
Yeah. I can't find the other one.
I like those collections are there's a million of them. It's like you remember how back like 20 years ago, a lot of companies got into the idea of let's re-release all of our arcade classics. Like Taito had a collection,
Yeah.
Midway had a collection. It's that now. It's like let's release all of our NES and Super Nintendo era games.
Speaking of that, did you know that there is a series of, I think it released on the Switch, a series of games that are from, I think it's either Neo Geo or TurboGrafx 16, but they're labeled under a different name because they can't use the name of the console.
Really?
I can't remember which console it is. I think it's either Neo Geo or
Are
TurboGrafx.
are these the games that they market as the Arcade Archives titles?
No, it's another one.
Okay, because I
It's
do
got
have
a
a few
really
of
weird
those.
name.
I do have a few of those. Like I have both of the Puzzle Bobble games on my Switch. I have one of the Fatal Fury games. I have one of the Metal Slug games, and those I'm pretty sure all show the Neo Geo boot up sequence.
Yeah, maybe it's not Neo Geo. I remember the name is really stupid for the game series. Like it's kind of like Arcade Collections, but it's under a different name
Okay,
and it's a specific console. But I don't remember the console and I don't remember the name that they chose. But it was
yeah,
something
and good
stupid.
luck searching through the
Oh,
fucking
yeah,
Switch
don't get me
eShop.
started on that garbage. Yeah, the name was something really stupid that you'd never think of. Like it was like milk. I'm not even kidding. It was something really stupid.
Oh
Um,
God, yeah.
anyway,
Okay,
so
back to
DuckTales. Yep.
you.
Um, you know what? I'm gonna do my Star Wars game.
Yeah,
I gotta.
just do it. Just get it out of the way.
So
Rip off
Star
that
Wars.
bandage.
I'm gonna go with Jedi Fallen Order for my
Okay,
Star Wars game.
more recent, but
Yeah, more recent one. Yeah. Um, man,
I
if
was
there was
sure you were going to say Jedi Outcast, but
so I love the Jedi Academy games or Jedi
mhm,
Outcast games, whatever you
mhm,
want to call them. I also love Knights of the Old Republic and
mhm.
Squadrons was pretty good too. All the Squadron games are pretty
Yep.
good. I mean, Shadows of the Empire, all that kind of stuff.
Shadows
But
of the Empire is probably the worst one on the N64, and it's still a good game.
it's still a good game. Yeah, I mean the
That's
Hoth level
saying
alone,
something.
brilliant stuff. I could even go back to like TIE Fighter. There's so many games that I could go to. But
Like it's a like I said, it's really well suited to making a video game out of.
yeah, there's I mean, there's so many Star Wars games, but
There's more good Star Wars games than there are good Star Wars movies.
150%. Yeah, I toyed with going with Battlefront 2 because I really not the okay. Here's another
Old school Battlefront.
yeah,
No,
old school
I knew
Battlefront
what you
2.
meant.
Yeah,
And nobody's gonna
the
make that
naming
mistake.
convention of these idiots is just
Yeah. Oh,
so
it's like, well, to go back to another
name it
game I talked about. It's like when they did GoldenEye Rogue Agent,
yeah.
just trading on the name.
Yeah, just trading on the name. Yeah, why didn't they make the new Battlefront games Battlefront 3 and Battlefront 4?
Yeah,
Because they're idiots.
yeah.
But yeah, Jedi Fallen Order, awesome game, super polished. It could easily be a movie. In fact, it probably would be better than the sequel movies,
Oh
which
God.
isn't saying much, but
Oh man.
yeah, Jedi Fallen Order is fantastic. The main character is fantastic. The story's great. The action's great. The visuals are great. Super great. Even the sequel's really good. Survivor, Jedi Survivor. Um, it came out a little broken, unfortunately, but
I understand the PC version of that was especially busted.
yeah, have fixed it since.
That's good.
I played it when it was half broken, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
it wasn't broken. It just wasn't polished. So there was some frame rate dips and some like weird, janky stuff happening where
Yeah.
it was like you can tell this game was rushed out,
Yeah.
which is par for the course for EA because EA is stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
That should be one of our random encounter episodes.
Dude,
Just bash EA to hell because I hate that freaking publisher.
yeah.
Someone
Yeah.
take all of their IP and give it to someone who actually gives a shit
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
see what they can do
I
with it.
will say, like, they haven't been as bad lately, but I don't know if that's because they've cleaned up their act or if because like Activision has been taking the spotlight.
I think they're just getting lucky. Like mean, clearly they haven't. I mean, Survivor was botched,
Yeah, and the Battlefront games, but
and Battlefront.
The
Yeah,
EA Star Wars games is a weird situation because those games have never been locked to a single publisher. Well, outside of LucasArts,
yeah,
but that's a division of Lucasfilm. So
yeah. When I found out that EA had the license to Star Wars
yeah,
exclusively for,
exclusive Star Wars license. That
I
was
think it was
very
like 5
strange.
years. Yeah, it was. Was it Disney owned them at that time, or they didn't own them at that time?
They did.
They did. So clearly they didn't know what they were doing
Yeah,
at that time, but they seem to have figured out that you need to diversify.
yeah,
You can't
yeah.
put all your eggs in the EA's basket because
No,
they just
please.
shit out the worst crap.
Please no.
But yeah, Jedi Fallen Order. If you haven't played it, it's I don't know. Until Outlaws, it might be the best modern Star Wars game.
High praise.
So yeah, Outlaws looks really good, but we'll see how that turns out. It is Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Your
So let's
next
see.
game
I have 1, 2, 3, 4,
should be your
5.
eighth, I think.
Jesus, can I count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, this will be my 8th. I got to make sure because I got one that I want
You want to make sure to have that
to last because it's a bit of a surprise. Let's see. What do I go with here? Do I go with the predictable or do I go with the predictable? I'm out of most of my outside of the last one that I'm saving. You know what? Again, I'll go with predictable. Enter the Matrix.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
Enter the Matrix. It hasn't aged super well.
No.
It has not aged super well.
No, it doesn't.
But you have to remember, at the time, the best that we had for bullet time was Max Payne, which isn't bad, and Dead to Rights, which also wasn't bad. But I think Enter the Matrix did a little bit better. Because you also had the Kung Fu stuff. You had the the actual Matrix, not the stuff that's capitalizing on the popularity of it.
Yeah.
It's the thing that
Matrix Online.
Okay, well, let's not get crazy here.
Let's not talk about that.
And you also had the tremendously high, and this is what really makes Enter the Matrix stand out for me, is that the Wachowskis were intimately involved with it. This was not a let's pass it off to someone else and shit it out for an extra buck. This was let's have the narrative intertwined with the movie. Let's focus
very like the Third Age.
Yep. Let's focus on Ghost and Niobe, who are in the movie, but are not in it a lot. But let's focus on them.
Let's tell the story of what they were doing.
Let's shoot live action footage as part of the movie that we'll use for the game.
Yeah, smart.
And it's not just, oh, let's also do this. Like, there is shit that they shot for that highway chase scene. You know, the one where they built a stretch of highway just for that scene.
It's still there to this day.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, well, what are you going to do? Tear it up? Just leave it there.
The Mythbusters used it a lot for their experiments.
Oh, that makes sense.
That big freeway, that big like it was almost like an airstrip.
Yeah, it's like a mile and a half of highway that they built.
That's what that was. That was the highway.
Okay, well, good that they got use out of it.
They named it something after they left it, like after the crew left it from the movie.
Yeah, whatever. But there was footage that was just shot as part of the movie there that they used in the game because, like, you know, there's the part where Niobe like catches him on the car and's like, you're not finished, go kick his ass, and speeds up the car and he jumps back on top of the semi. That is footage from the game. It's not in the movie, but you see his perspective in the movie, but you see hers in the game. It's just cool that they put that much into it.
They show you how she got there in the game. Yeah. And in the movie you have no idea how she got there. She's like, oh, she's there.
Yeah, cool. But we got too many other characters to focus on. You know, we're doing the the Nebuchadnezzar crew. So let's focus the game on these other characters that have an important role in the movie, but are definitely side characters. And it was handled really well. They got the whole cast not just for the live action stuff. They got him for all the voice acting, for the facial capture, all of that. It's awesome. It was a really, really high quality production that you don't really see that much of, especially now that most of the tie-ins are just like App Store stuff, which is honestly probably where they're better suited. But back then, it was really cool to see that kind of attention being paid to the video game. And obviously, the Wachowskis, they're huge nerds. They love video games.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. But like, what a great franchise to do that tie-in with, because it's about a virtual simulation. So
Perfect.
having the tie-in be a video game makes a lot of sense. And
I-
then there's the cool stuff, like there's the hacking mini game that you can unlock stuff in the game. But it's really, for me, it's about the tying it into the whole experience and actually giving a damn about the
I
video game.
completely forgot about the tie-in stuff. That was really cool. I do remember that.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember about that game, for whatever reason, is the bad running.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean,
I was like, what are they doing?
Yeah,
But I also remember like jumping off the wall and doing a kick,
which is
you know,
cool.
John Woo style. Like that
Yeah.
stuff was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good pick.
And weird Powerade product placement for some reason.
Man, there was some weird, yeah.
Like
I don't know.
the Nokia product placement in the first Matrix movie, it's like, okay, he gets a phone. We got to have a phone. Let's use a Nokia.
Yeah.
But then they have Powerade vending machines in the game. I don't know what was up with that, but whatever. They got it
like Energizer or Duracell advertisements in Alan Wake. I remember that too.
God, I don't remember.
There's some weird games.
I haven't played Alan Wake in a while. I fucking need to play Alan Wake 2 still.
Me too. I played the demo and I was like, my jaw dropped at how good it was.
Oh, God, yeah.
I can't wait to play it.
But, yeah, Enter the Matrix. Maybe doesn't hold up super well compared to some of these other games, but it was a big deal when it came out.
Yeah, no, you made fair points. My number 9, so I have 2 left. I have 3 to pick from that aren't Marvel.
You don't have to tell me what the other Marvel ones are when you're done.
I definitely will. Unless you take one of my last ones, then I'll.
Yeah, well then you'll have to.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with one that I laughed my ass off at because it was so successful despite a boycott.
Oh, here we go. I know what this is going to be.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah.
So, full disclosure, I think we've talked about this on the show before. I am in full support of the LGBTQ plus community.
I mean, your regular co-host has a giant trans pride
flag in the back. Yeah. So I think that's obvious from the get-go. I think J.K. Rowling's. I think there's something wrong with her. At first, when the boycott happened, I was like, okay, you guys are like blowing shit up. But now I go back and I look at all the history of her tweets that she continues to put out. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? There's something serious.
The thing that really mystifies me about that, and I of course am also fully in support. You know what? People, if whatever they want to be, fine. I'm not going to get fussed about it.
Doesn't hurt me.
You be you, live your life, whatever. I don't. It doesn't matter to me. All I care about is who you are as a person.
Yeah, exactly.
And the rest of it is irrelevant in the face of that.
It's your life. Do what you want. I don't care.
What about J.K. Rowling and her stance on all this? I am floored when I see how many people loved Harry Potter because it was about somebody who didn't belong and found a family where he belonged. Which is like, when you think about all the people who were closeted gay or transgender, and just how many people identified with that. Mm-hmm. I mean, Harry Potter in the books literally lives in a closet under the stairs. You all the people who embraced that because they saw themselves in it, and to have the author of that then turn around and say, no, fuck you. Yeah. It's like, What is wrong with you?
Yeah, there's something seriously,
How
seriously
like
wrong with her.
even if that's how you feel, and you know what? If that's how she feels, fine. Like
Yeah,
I'm not here to tell anybody how like what they should think. I think she's a shitty person, but she's
yeah,
entitled to her own opinion. You know
for
what?
sure.
That's fine. Why would you isolate so many of your fans that way? Like just I mean, I guess she's
Yeah,
already got more money than God, so she doesn't care, but like
no,
what a way to torpedo your own brand, you know?
yeah. The one thing that I'm a little so what I was trying to get at with with laughing at the boycott was that you're not if you so first of all, the boycott failed miserably.
Well, yeah, of course.
It's
It's
sold like
Harry Potter.
25
People are gonna
million copies or something
it's
crazy.
it's Harry Potter. People are gonna
Yeah,
buy
it's
it.
huge. So the boycott failed, but the boycott I think was super misled. I get why people were mad, but you're not by not buying the game, you're not punishing her. She could give two shits. You're punishing the developer, and the
Mhm.
developer put a trans character in the game.
Mhm.
So clearly, this is not a game developed in any way, shape, or form by
By
J.K.
her.
Rowling.
Yeah.
So the fact that the developers clearly don't share her values,
Mhm.
and it was obvious that they don't share her values.
Yeah.
There was no reason to boycott this game. There just really wasn't. And
Unless you hate Harry Potter, which by
like,
the
if
way, I fucking hate Harry Potter. And
so do I. I
it's
can't stand it.
it's nothing about the books themselves. It's not even about J.K. Rowling. It's that
Same.
my sisters and my mother were so into it, and it
Yeah,
was nonstop. And I just got so fucking sick and tired of Harry Potter
I
that
agree.
I just I can't
I have an
I'm just
entirely different reason for why I don't like it.
oh okay, go for it.
I can't stand British accents.
That's such a stupid reason. I love it.
so I'm okay with like I know British
You
people.
have just fucked up
Yeah,
because
everyone
now
hates
I
me. I
know
know.
how to annoy you. Now I know if I ever need to annoy you. Oh,
So
just stop talking like this, governor.
yeah, the funny part is that I have a British friend, and her accent has like mold over the years, so she talks mostly Canadian at this point. There's no real British accent in there, but every so often it comes out, and I mock
Yeah.
her to death when she does. It's like, oh, you know, gonna get phone on your telly, you know. Um, she hates me for it, but that's fine. But
It's okay. It's totally fine.
it's totally fine. It's all in good fun. But no, seriously, like I'm okay with British accents. I hear them all the time. Obviously, I don't care. But when the whole movie is the British accent,
Yeah.
it just drives me up the wall. I'm just like and I understand like that's how the people talk out
Yeah,
there.
it's
I get
just
it, whatever. It's your accent.
I mean,
But I
technically
just
we're the weird ones. They were speaking English long before we were.
that's true. It's true. But yeah, I couldn't get over
Football
it.
friend. Best
Yeah.
friends forever. Oh, you would hate the in-betweeners.
Oh, probably anything that's super British. No, I can't do it. Um, but yeah, I was never a fan of the Harry Potter movies either. Everything about them just screamed not cool to me. Like, even the way they say the spell names. I can't even remember half of them at this
It's
point.
Leviosa, not
Leviosa! Like,
Leviosa.
I was just yeah, that kind of stuff just drove me nuts. But I saw the work that the developers were putting into this game. I saw how dedicated they were to the IP. The visuals were stunning, etc., so on and so forth. So I was like, you know what?
Give it a
I'm gonna
shot
get,
anyway.
I'm gonna give it a shot, and I played it to death.
Yeah.
Great, amazing, unique combat. So many things to do, so many things to see.
There's a lot of opportunity in that. As much as as tired as I am of the brand, there's a
Yeah,
lot of opportunities for gameplay in there.
yeah, and as someone who has no connection to the franchise and everything from the movies and from the books that would probably just right
Yeah.
over my head that I didn't even get to appreciate. I still loved everything that I did see and did get. And the story was great. The characters were great. You know, the visuals still stun me to this day. I remember creating my character and I was just like, look at the detail.
Mm.
Holy crap. This game is gorgeous. Um, yeah, what a game. I was so shocked. I was like, holy crap. And this is their first game.
Oh,
This developer was created
I
to
didn't
make
know
this
that.
game. Yeah,
Okay.
their name is Portkey Games, which Portkey is something to do with
Like a
Harry
Harry
Potter.
Potter thing, whatever. I
Yeah.
don't know.
So I was like, wow, what a
That's
I
a
mean, if you're
real
talking about
breakout effort.
yeah, you're taking a
Starting with a
swing and a
massive
miss.
IP.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, you couldn't ask for a better first game for your
Yeah.
studio. You know, one of the best selling
Sounds
single
like they
player
did a good
games.
job.
Yeah, just phenomenal. So, I'm sure everyone out there who is listening to this has probably played it. But
Except
wow,
for me.
yeah, dude, I would recommend it. I would anyone who like it's so good. The combat is so unique. You have to like it's ranged combat, but there's also dodging, and you have to like I would compare it to Batman Arkham's melee combat, but ranged.
Okay.
And you have to change your spells based on the color of their shields. So like there's
Oh, it's like an elemental thing, but color based.
color based, yeah, and but each spell does something different. So some spells will like Leviosa, you leave, you
Make them
get the guy
float.
up, and then you can follow it up with like a lightning spell or a shock spell, or like there's so many different combinations of spells. I was shocked at how deep it was for what it was. It was and it's so fun. It's punchy. It's
Okay.
responsive. Um, it's so good. I'm wholeheartedly hoping for a great sequel from that because when you nail it the first time, holy crap, could you make something great the second time? You know what I mean? It's like
Potential for a follow up is
the
high.
potential is like, you know, there's very few things in the game where I'm like, ooh, they could have done that better. Very few. Like that's I'm trying to think of what I would rate the game on our scale. It's at least a 9. Is it a 10?
It's hard to say.
Damn close.
The thing is I don't have anything to contribute to that. If I'd played it, I'd be able to offer some of my own insight.
Highly recommend you pick it up. Wait for a sale. Pick it up when it's cheap. Actually,
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. That's not gonna happen.
you're not gonna play it.
The hatred for Harry Potter is too
Too high.
strong. It's too strong.
Luckily, it doesn't have any of those characters from the movie in it, so you don't have to worry about it.
It's not even about that. It's just
You're just sick of it.
It's just the brand. I'm so sick of it.
Fair enough. Yeah,
it's like if you ate the same thing every day for the first 20 years of your life, you'd never want to have it again.
My family was high into it as well, and that may have contributed to for it as well. But
I will say I did see the movies. I didn't see them in theaters. I saw them when they.
I did see the movies as well
because the TV was in the living room, and they were okay, competently made, British accents and all.
British accents and
all. Okay,
we just completely lost the British audience.
Whatever.
Number 9.
My number 9. So you know what? I'm gonna strike a few things here. I had Lord of the Rings on here. I was gonna talk about the movie license games that EA did. But I don't think I can really say anything more interesting than what you said about the Third Age. I have TMNT just as a general thing on here. We talked about Turtles in Time. We're not going to do better than that.
There's no better Turtles game.
I have Spider-Mans on here because there are multiple good Spider-Man games.
Yes, there are. Obviously, the Kingpins are the current.
And what am I going to say about those that hasn't already been said?
Yeah, they're amazing.
So I'm gonna strike that.
One of the other Lord of the Rings games I was considering, other than the Third Age, was the Battle for Middle Earth games.
Oh, the RTS games.
Yeah, they were fantastic.
Yeah. I played a little bit of those. You know what? I'm gonna go for a weird one before my last weird one.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Jurassic Park game. but I'm not
First,
going to go. I'm not going to go with one of the ones you're thinking of because you're
okay,
probably thinking of the one on the Super Nintendo or one of the ones on the Genesis, and those are fine, right? The Genesis
they're not
ones are
amazing.
they're a little rough, but yeah, they're all right. There's that one. There's that second one on the Super Nintendo that's kind of like Contra almost,
Yeah, it's the side
weirdly.
scroller with the raptors and all that stuff.
Yeah, but I'm not going to talk about any of those. I'm not talking about any of those. I'm going to talk about a Jurassic Park game on the GBA. It's called Jurassic Park Park Builder.
Oh yeah, I
And
remember that one.
it's basically like theme park or roller coaster tycoon, but it's Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
And
it's the precursor to the 3D ones that they made recently. Evolution, I think they were called.
yeah, yeah. And it's
Park
a
Builder's better though.
it's a weird but like also kind of totally makes sense idea. Let's just take the roller coaster tycoon formula and slap the Jurassic Park license on it. Yeah,
Why would they make it on GBA though? That seems like a bad idea.
that is such a weird decision. That's part of the reason why I like it.
Yeah,
It's such a weird place to put it.
if that was on PC, it would probably would have sold really well.
It probably would have done great.
Yeah.
I have no idea why they put it on the GBA, but it's that kind of goofy thing that makes the game stand out to me. Um, because like it's a portable roller coaster tycoon. Okay, sure, it's not as elaborate as Roller Coaster Tycoon. Like, you're not literally designing roller coasters. Although it would have been fun to make some things like dip into the Velociraptor pen, just to keep things exciting.
What a
But
redundant name though. Jurassic
Jurassic
Park
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 Builder.
Builder, yeah, whatever. Um, but yeah, it's you mount expeditions to find amber where the mosquitoes have been caught in because I guess that's a super common thing. you know gotta extract all that DNA from those preserved mosquitoes, and then you eventually get enough of a dinosaur's genome that you can clone them, and you put them in enclosures, and you put up gift shops and restaurants and paths for people to walk around. Do not put tall grass around the Velociraptor pen. That is a recipe for disaster. But it's just a fun little building game with the
Yeah.
Jurassic Park license, which struck me, like I said, as kind of weird, but also kind of like, oh, this actually makes a lot of sense at the time that it came out. This is a
No,
fun little
totally.
game.
Yeah. No,
So
I love city builders and stuff like it.
oh yeah,
Roller tycoon. They're really fun.
yeah. So that's my
The
number
ever
nine. Not a lot to say about it, but just a fun
it's
little
good.
game.
Yeah. The evolution games are pretty good too. The problem with them is that they're too slow and they don't give you enough space to
Oh
build.
yeah, you
But
kind
very
of
cool
need
though.
that for dinosaurs. They're kind of big.
Yeah, I know. Very strange. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll go with the only one left on my list
That isn't Marvel.
that isn't Marvel or DC. This one you may not agree with on the license part, but it is technically a licensed game.
Hit me with it.
So this is Tom Clancy is the uh, IP, I guess.
Yeah.
Rainbow Six Vegas.
No, that's absolutely an adaptation because it was a book originally. Rainbow Six was a book. I
Okay,
was
well,
actually, when I was looking through stuff, I was like, does Tom Clancy count as a license or as an adaptation? And
I
I
think
thought to myself, Splinter Cell, no, because that's a game originally, but Rainbow Six was a book first.
I think a couple of the games were books first. Was
Well,
it End War was a book?
there is a Splinter Cell book, but it wasn't written by Tom Clancy, and it came out after the game.
Right. Yeah. He's also got
Um,
Ghost Recon and
yeah.
what else he's got? I don't know. But yeah, Rainbow Six Vegas. I was gonna go with the original Rainbow Six because it was more
I remember
like more
playing
up.
that with you on the
Yeah.
N64.
I remember planning all that
Yeah.
stuff's really cool.
Yeah, it was really
Um,
fun. It was one of the few games that did split screen really well because instead of like compressing your field of view, it actually widened the field of view. So it was actually advantageous to play it in split screen because
it
you got
was.
widescreen mode.
Yep. They were hard games too.
They were hard games. You make a mistake and people die.
Yep.
It's not like another shooter where you can pick up health. It's like, no, these are your operatives and they have body armor, but they're not invincible.
I do think that the tactical squad, SWAT type games need to come back.
Sure.
They kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
They're all about run and gun shooters and crap like that. So
Or live services like the Division.
live service games, yeah. But yeah, Rainbow Six Vegas is what I went with from that series. So there's Vegas and Vegas 2.
Yep.
They're basically the exact same
They're basically
game.
the same game.
Yeah, Vegas 2 is basically just the finish of the story. It's basically part 1 and part 2 for all intents and purposes. I think Vegas 2 came out a year later. Like, it was not
something like that. They were pretty close.
Yeah. They are not the most
there's a little bit of jank to them.
There's some jank in them.
Just a little.
They're stiff, I think is the best way I would call them. Very stiff. But the fact that you can command your squad in real time, tell them, line up on this door, and then you go over to the other door, and then you both burst in at the same time to rooms, and I love that stuff. I think we need more games that are like that. There's actually a game right now that's in development. I think it may be out in full release now on Steam called Ready or Not.
Yes, I've seen that.
I really want to try that one out. But the problem is, again, my PC's not going to run it. So I'm waiting and hoping that they do a console release. But
you gotta upgrade, man.
Money.
Yeah. Yeah, I upgraded in the middle of the fucking GPU pandemic shortage.
Yeah.
That was a rough one. Rough one.
I got this gaming laptop 2018, 2017, I want to say.
Yeah, that'll be.
So it's a little old.
Yeah, as a laptop, it'll be showing its age for sure.
It can do what it needs to do.
Sure.
Lord help me if it dies, though, man.
Then you're in trouble.
I'm screwed.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rainbow Six Vegas. I think it's fantastic, and you even get to command the squad in co-op too. So the player 1 commands the 2 dudes, and player 2 is it's basically you and player 2 as one team, and then player 1 commands the other team.
Yep.
And you can kind of coordinate however you want. It's really fun,
and it has a survival mode, multiplayer survival mode.
Yeah, it's very hard.
It's super hard because the terrorists spawn out of thin air.
Yep. Yeah, it's not very balanced.
No.
But it is fun though. It is very fun. It's very hard because the bullet. I don't know what you want to call it.
The physics of
the physics of the bullets is real. So if you get shot in the head, you're dead.
Yeah, you're done.
You can't stick your head out in live fire situations. You have to be very tactical. You have to get your squad to draw fire in order to avoid getting shot. It's very good. I like those kind of games.
Yep.
So that is my number.
That'd be your number 10, won't it?
Number 10. So I'll quickly reveal the other 3 that I had, just because I'm not going to talk about them very much anyway. But Batman Arkham Knight was my DC game.
I knew one of those Arkham games was going to be in there.
All 3 are great. Knight's my favorite, which I know is controversial because it's mostly garnered as the worst one. But I think it's visually gorgeous and super expansive. Yes, the Batmobile stuff kind of sucks, but it's fun if you take it. If you take it for what it is, it's fun.
Sure.
Story's great in my opinion. The other 2 were the Marvel ones.
Yeah.
So one was X-Men Origins Wolverine.
I thought about putting that on there.
Yeah, great game that was a movie tie-in at a
time.
Yeah,
that was weirdly good.
Yeah, it was really good. It's probably the best Wolverine game.
Yeah.
For now. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. We'll see how that turns out. I do hope it's good.
And how can you not have faith in Insomniac at this
point? They've proven themselves pretty capable.
And then the other Marvel one, which I forgot was Marvel because I'm an idiot, is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
This was the single player. Nobody played this. It was a single player one that was not based on the movies. It was its own sort of. It was more based on the comics.
Yeah, but got made because of the success of the movie.
But got made because of the success. Yeah. Exactly. I can't remember who made it. Let me look that up.
I'm going to be real with you. I fucking hated Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, really?
I hated that movie so much.
Let's see. Who made this game?
I thought you were going to have like Ultimate Alliance on there.
Surprisingly, I never played like the X-Men Legends games and Ultimate Alliance.
Oh, really?
Never played them. I've been told about them and I've read about them, and I know I would love them because of the style of the game. I'm like, oh yeah, I'd fucking love those games. The problem is now that because I didn't play them,
Yeah.
If I try to go back to them and try and play them now, they're too old to.
Eh. So some you might be surprised. Sometimes the old stuff,
I
even
do
that you
own X-Men Legends.
oh
On,
okay.
it's on GameCube.
Yeah,
It was one of those games where I picked it up when I was building my collection
yeah,
and saw it for like $5 somewhere. I was like,
yeah.
oh,
Bargain
you
bin.
told me that
Some
game was
yeah.
good. Yeah. You know what a game I just picked up like 5 days ago
What?
was SOCOM 1.
Oh really?
I got it for $4.
Wow.
I was like, how is this being sold for $4?
Yeah, well, it's good that you're getting them now because the PS2 games are going to start climbing in price soon.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, IDOS Montreal made Guardians of the Galaxy, which is shocking.
Oh yeah,
They're not known for amazing games.
yeah.
But highly recommend it for those who like
Well, I
Guardians of the
mean,
Galaxy.
they made Deus Ex Human Revolution.
They did, which is a great game.
That's a pretty good
The
game.
sequel sucked, but
I didn't play the sequel
good. Don't.
because I heard it wasn't so great.
No, it's bad. Let's see. They've made Human Revolution. They helped make the Tomb Raider reboot.
Of course.
They made the Thief reboot, which I actually really liked. The Thief reboot.
Really?
Yeah. Did you ever play it?
No.
Yeah. It was surprisingly good.
Really? Because
really
I
enjoyed
heard very different things, and that's why I didn't
So
play
did
it.
I. I did too, but I played the demo for it or something like that, and I was like, "This is really fun." And then I looked at the reviews, and I'm like, "It wasn't that bad." And then I played it, and I was like, "No, this is good." What the hell's wrong
Well, I
with
mean,
these reviewers?
Thief fans are purists, so you know.
Yeah, I mean, I played the original Thief.
Yeah.
I don't think I played any of the other ones, but
I played
it's basically Dishonored without the magic.
yeah, I played a little bit of the original Thief. The thing is, I didn't play it back in the day. I played it later, and it's one of those games that's hard to get running on modern systems. So I kind of played it, but it was kind of buggy, and it got to a point where I was like, I need to look for like community patches or something, and then it just got buried in the pile, and I need to go back and do a full playthrough of it. But I have it on Steam. You know, it's just waiting to just waiting for me to put in the work.
Here's a weird thing that I just read. Wait, what? This doesn't make so. IDOS Montreal is currently supporting development for Fable,
That's
which makes no sense to me because that's being done by Playground Games, which is a first-party Xbox studio.
that sounds weird.
It says IDOS is currently under Embracer. Why the hell are they helping out Xbox?
Yeah, that's I don't see. I can't connect the
Unless
dots
they.
there.
Oh wait.
I mean, maybe maybe Embracer is like farming them out to make some of the money from that back. I don't know.
So it says in November 2022, Bloomberg News reported that IDOS Montreal was in the very early development stages of a new Deus Ex game, but in January 2024, which was only 6 or 7 months ago,
Yeah,
they reported that Embracer had canceled the game
of course they did.
because it's Embracer, and they also laid off.
I feel so
93
bad
people.
for Elias Defects as he really wants to play Adam Jensen again, but they just won't.
Yeah.
They just won't let him.
What the? There's nothing about. So they laid off 97 people from the studio, but they're supporting work on an Xbox first-party studio game.
That's weird.
I'm gonna pass that along to some gaming media people. I don't know if they know
that's
that.
a thing we'll have to look into later.
Yeah, that's
Is it-
super weird.
That seems like a whole thing. So, shall I do my number 10?
Yeah, what is your last one?
My last one is a bit of an interesting one. It is Scream 4, the mobile game.
Oh, okay, never heard of this one. That's for sure. Anything mobile, I got nothing for you.
So this was obviously this is a tie-in to Scream 4. This was a game where you took the role of the killer and you went through the house and you killed people.
Was
And
it one of those asynchronous games?
Nope. This
Single player.
This is a single player like stealth game.
What?
Have you ever played Party Hard?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but before Party Hard.
Was it 2D?
Nope, no, it was fully 3D game,
First person? Third person?
third person.
Okay, I gotta look this up. Scream for the game. That's all it is.
Yep. Let
Scream.
me see if I can find footage of it on YouTube.
I just found there's a wiki for it.
Scream for mobile. Yeah, here we go. Oh, I forgot about this part. Here, I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, it's third person. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop a link to a YouTube video in the chat for you.
Oh, and you have to like drag the knife.
Yes, there's like a, that's what I was talking about. There's like a swipe gesture you got to do. It looks kind of like The Sims.
Yeah, it does look like The Sims.
I haven't played this in so long.
And you get like scores for how quickly you do the kill.
Yep.
Wow, this is interesting for a mobile game, especially.
Yeah. What a weird thing to put out a promotional game where you play as a serial killer, right?
Yeah.
But it was like weirdly
Oh, and
fun.
you can turn off the lights to scare them and shit.
Yep.
Huh.
It was such a weird one, but I've always remembered it. I haven't played it in years, but it always stuck out in my mind. Like, what a weird way to do a licensed
PC
game.
version.
There's a PC version?
Yeah. I'm watching the guy play the PC version right now because I was like,
shit.
Yeah, he's using the cursor to. You have to like. It's the same game. It's just
the same game.
Use the mouse to do the cursor action.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
So he's like dragging the knife.
The knife across for it.
Yeah.
I had no idea that there was a PC version. Okay, we're both learning things here.
There you go.
Yeah, weird little promotional game.
Cheerleader kill.
Where you play as a serial killer.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Cool.
So my other ones, I talked about some of them already. I had Batman on here. I was going to talk about the NES game, but
that was a good game.
Yeah, it's also kind of predictable. I had Power Rangers on here because there was that one Super Nintendo game that was pretty good, and then the rest of them weren't.
There was 2 Super Nintendo games that were pretty good.
There was one based on the movie that was all right, but it wasn't as good as the first one.
No, I agree.
But like we did talk about, there's that new one that's coming.
Rita's Rewind.
Yep. So, but yes, I really enjoyed the one on the Super Nintendo. Had a lot of fun with that. But I figured it's probably not as interesting as some of the other ones.
No, for sure.
I also had just the Lego games in general because,
Yeah, I almost went with a couple of those, but I was like, that's kind of cheating.
Yeah.
It's a license within a license.
Yeah, it's a double license, and I kind of felt the same way.
Yeah.
And I also had Shadow Man, which was another Acclaim game that was based on a comic that they picked up when they got Valiant. Which I didn't actually play that until like within the last year. I finally got Shadow Man remastered. Never played it on N64 back in the day. I always wanted to because I really like Soul Reaver, and it also has similar things. You're going between the world of the living and the dead. And I played it. So I played it for the first time recently. But the reason I didn't bring it up is because I got really stuck on it. Because you have to find those Dark Souls in the game to progress forward. It's kind of like getting the stars in Mario 64.
Is it?
No. Is it the Dark Souls of Shadow Man? No. But it's so like I said, they're kind of like the stars in Mario 64. But you know how Mario 64 did a really helpful thing where you could pause the game and look at which stars and which levels you'd gotten? Yeah, Shadow Man doesn't do that. You have to keep track of them yourself. And I wasn't doing that because I didn't know.
Was Shadow Man the one that they tried to bring back as like a first-person shooter, or is that Shadow Gate?
No, Shadow Run.
Shadow Run, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Okay, yeah.
No, Shadow Man is the one where for the sequel they said, "Hey, if you let us put the logo on a loved one's tombstone, we'll pay for the funeral." Remember that shit? You remember that shit?
So gross.
You remember name your baby Turok and we'll give them money for college?
Oh my god.
Yeah. Nasty. The dying days of Acclaim. It was a dark time. But anyway, so I got stuck in the game because I hadn't been keeping track of the. It's one of those quality of life things that I expected Night Dive to put in. They put in other quality of life stuff, but not a soul tracker. And I got to a point where I realized that it would probably be faster to just start the game over from scratch and start keeping track of the ones than try to backtrack and figure out which ones I'd picked up. And that's the kind of thing that really kills my interest in the game. So that's why I didn't bring it up. But I put it on the list just in case I needed one.
Absolutely.
So yeah, those are my 10.
Awesome.
And we
So,
managed to keep it under 4 hours. We crossed 3,
well,
but
we still have video game 20 questions to go.
oh Jesus Christ, we do. Oh
We do.
fuck, I forgot.
We will see how quickly that goes.
Oh god.
I was looking at
Don't forget the time code for this.
yeah,
Okay.
I've got it lined up luckily. I was looking at the acclaimed list. I can't believe they closed in 2004. That's crazy. It's been
Yeah.
so long. But they
Yeah.
did some crazy stuff. They did like NBA Jam.
Mm-hmm.
They did Vex. They did
They were a big publisher.
they did Worms.
They did. They got acquired, and their name was used for mobile game publishing for a little while.
Yeah, looks like they did they no wonder Acclaim kept coming up. They did a shitload of licensed games.
Yep.
Mary Kate and Ashley, Girls Night Out.
Mm-hmm.
Why wasn't that on your list?
I thought about putting on Hooters Road Trip as a joke. But it wasn't even it wasn't even like a funny game. I never heard of it until today. It's a real game, and I looked up some footage of it, and I was like, this wouldn't even be funny to joke about because it's just a racing game where the loading screens have pictures of Hooters waitresses. Like, man, that is so fucking low effort.
Hey, then I should have brought up the Burger King game.
Oh, Sneak King! Oh shit! Oh shit!
Oh man. Yeah, Acclaim also helped out on Burnout.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yep. We could just go through all the fucking shitty ones. How about Cool Spot?
Acclaimed did that?
No, I mean for licensed games. You could play as the red spot from the 7-Up logo. How about Mick and Matt Global Gladiators? You want to play a McDonald's game where you shoot slime at monsters?
I can easily eclipse any game that
if you say Shaq Fu.
Nope. Superman 64.
Oh.
It's over. Done. Worst game of all time.
Yeah, it's up there or down there. That's a bad one.
Simpsons Wrestling, that was a really bad one.
Yeah. You see that you see some crazy person has decided to remake Simpsons Hit and Run on their own.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's apparently it works really well. People are crazy, man, but in a great way.
Connect Star Wars. There's another bad one.
Oh, Connect anything.
What else? What other crap is out there? Famous crap, not just bad. Because there's bad crap all.
Oh yeah, there's all sorts of bad licensed crap out there.
Aliens, Colonial Marines, the infamous.
I very deliberately avoided putting Aliens on the list because it felt like it was too easy of a joke.
Yeah. There's a lot of anime games that are really bad.
Yeah, well.
Oh, the Rambo game. Remember that?
Oh.
Came out like a million years after the movies.
Yeah.
I was like, why is this here?
The Warriors.
Yeah, the Warriors.
Good movie, though. Great movie.
There was a recent Ghostbusters game that was really bad, too. It was like an entirely new cast. It was like a top-down shooter kind of a thing. It was awful.
That one Ghostbusters game that they did like a decade ago that was basically Ghostbusters 3. Awesome. Love it.
They remastered that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, good for them. Is it a good remaster?
Yeah, no, it was
okay.
Yeah, it's a faithful. It's not a remake. It's just like an up-resed, modernized.
It's not the Wii version, is it?
No. It's like the PS3. Xbox.
Okay.
Oh, All right. Well, let's finish the show with what we always do, and that is 20 questions. We are currently 2-0. We have not lost yet. So let's try and keep
Except
that.
for the bullshit that it pulled on us.
So
But
we had bullshit on ours as well. The one that was last week. So, but we're still considering them wins because we were misled.
yeah.
So I think for this one, we should start off with, is it a licensed game?
Let's do it. Is this based on an existing intellectual property or license? However you want to phrase that.
Yeah. If I can spell license correctly. It is.
Okay. Well,
snap.
That narrows it down because we're in the mindset and we've been doing the research to build these lists. So
have we mentioned this game already on the show?
If it has the answer to that, I'm going to be worried.
Yeah.
Do you want to start narrowing down
we should do the date,
a time period? Yeah.
Yeah, let's do after 2000. I think it's probably a good. Or did this game come out in the 70s, 80s, or 90s?
Let's say did this game, like, the way you had it phrased before was good, on or after January 1st, 2000.
Did this game?
I still can't believe that we cut it so close with Tony Hawk.
What was the game that we had last week? It
was launch title for the 360.
I'm trying to remember what the title it was that we had last week. I don't remember off the top of my head. Let me see.
You can always pull up the episode.
Yeah, I usually put them in the records. Let's see. Oh, it's Final Fantasy VII.
Oh.
Yeah. We were misled because it didn't know. Shoot. I can't remember. I think it didn't know whether it was a three-person party or not.
Oh, okay. Oh, and we should put in the chat the questions that we've already put. So it is a licensed game. It is a licensed game.
Do you want to do that? Because I have the footnotes up.
Sure.
Yeah, so it is licensed. Did this game originally release on or after January 1st, 2000? Yes. So it is a post, or it was either on or post January 1st, 2000. Do you want me to do 2010? Same question with 2010 instead.
Yeah.
Did this game originally release on or after January 1st, 2010? No. So it is a 2000s game.
All right. So pre-2010.
Let's see. So I would say most licensed games were not exclusive.
No.
So I don't think we need to waste a question on if it's exclusive to a console.
Yeah. I mean, there's no point in making them exclusive. You want to put them on as many platforms as you can get them on.
Yeah. Maybe we should start with, does this game have multiplayer?
I mean, we could, but it lied to us about it last time. I'm growing distrustful of the machine.
No, I don't think it didn't lie about. Oh no, we said online multiplayer. So what if we just put multiplayer?
Yeah.
We could do that.
We could.
Or we could ask, is this based off a movie?
That'll narrow it down a lot.
Narrow it down.
Is it based on a movie?
This game based on a. No. So we're looking at a TV show or comic. Or a book.
Okay.
That makes it tougher, I would say. Narrows it down a lot, though.
It does. But then there's the stuff like you said it could be based on a book. What if it considers the Harry Potter games based on a book, even though they're also technically based on a movie? Because that's when all those games came out.
All right. Well, why don't we say, is this based on a comic book series? Because then we'll know it's either Marvel or DC.
We could cut out the Harry Potter titles and just say, is this game based on the Harry Potter franchise?
Is there a lot of Harry Potter games?
There's a shit ton of Harry Potter games.
Shit. Okay.
There's the,
you know what we could do to
console games, and then there's the handheld games.
We could start by asking, is this a fantasy game? because that would eliminate more
Fantasy
than
is a really broad term, though.
it is, but it's not sci-fi. If we get a yes, then we know it's not like
Yeah, but it is
futuristic
the
or-
machine going to make that distinction?
Well, if it's reading off of like Wikipedia and stuff like that, there should be genres in the doodads.
Yeah. I mean, we've got 16 more questions, so sure, we can try that.
Okay.
Is this
Man,
a
how do I?
fantasy game?
Now I'm questioning myself.
Yeah.
Shoot. Yeah, you know what? I think I trust your judgment on that. I think that might be too broad.
Okay.
We could ask if it's a sci-fi game, but we don't know what it's based off of. That's what's really bugging me.
Yeah. It'd be really great is if Moby Games, and maybe they do if you pay for their like premium thing, if we could like punch these in and look at an itemized list.
Yeah,
But I don't know, that kind of feels like cheating, maybe.
definitely cheating. Yeah. This has got to be off of our brain power.
Yeah, but we didn't do that for when we made these lists. We both went through lists of titles.
That's true. That's true.
We've already failed by that metric. Yeah,
But
fuck
we
it.
know-
Let's keep going. Let's keep going. We can do this.
Most of what we had was movie based, though. Most of it in
Yeah.
our list,
Yeah.
and this is not a new movie based game apparently.
Yeah.
I think the comic book question's probably worthwhile because like if it's not movie, then it's either
There were a lot of comic book based games. Like there
Yeah, I
was Ultimate Spider-Man, which is not
Yeah.
based on a Spider-Man movie. It was based on the Spider-Man 2 movie games engine, though. It was pretty good for it.
also we're talking 2000 to 2010, so we're talking PlayStation 1 and 64, the end of the Dreamcast. Like we don't know what console it's for, so it could
And
be really
all the way
early.
to the early days of
PS3.
the PS3 and 360.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there could be a lot.
There's
of
a
shit.
lot in there.
All right, is this game based on a comic book series? No. Oh snap! So it's either a book or a TV show.
Do you think it could be James Cameron's Dark Angel?
I mean, well, it's a TV show, so it could be.
Yeah, could be.
I since we've already burned 2 questions on which license it is, I think we
Yeah.
need to burn them until we figure out what it is. If it's a TV show or if it's a book.
Yeah, ask if it's based on TV show.
No.
Okay, so can't be Dark Angel. It can't be the Buffy the Vampire Slayer game.
I really hope it's not misleading us already.
It could be.
Then should we just I think we need to just ask, is it based on a book?
Sure, go
Just
for
to
it.
be sure. 100%, like 100%. No.
So it's a franchise that is a licensed franchise, but it's not a movie, not a TV show, not a comic book, not a book. Wait, is it based on a fucking album or something? It could be one of those Kiss games.
It could be sneaking.
It could be Kiss Psycho Circus.
Oh no. It could be that what was that McDonald's game as a kid? Something Kids?
McKids.
McKids?
But
Was
it couldn't be that because that was in the 90s.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I think it might be misleading us, but we can't assume.
Yeah, we can't know until it fucking
end.
shits the bed.
Shit. Okay. I think we should for now move on from the license question and find out what console generation this came out on.
Do you want to plug in the release date of the 360 again?
Shit. Yeah, we could do that. Would you remember what the date was?
November something 2005. We can look it up on Wikipedia. That's not cheating.
Yeah, fine. Let's do that. I think it was No, I could just say November 1st because I think it was like something weird, like November 2nd or 6th or something.
Let me punch that in real quick.
Xbox 360 original release date in North America.
Xbox 360, November 22nd, 2005.
Okay. Did this game originally release on or after November 26th?
22nd.
22nd, 2005.
5.
No.
So
we are
pre-360.
Yeah, so we are PS1, PS2, N64, GameCube, Dreamcast. Could be PC.
Could be PC. That's still
Could be handheld.
That is a lot to cover still, but we're narrowing it down.
So a 2000 to 2005 game.
That is a license. That's not
potentially a license.
Potentially a license.
Frig.
Yeah, it's been pretty adamant about it not being a license, but also a license.
Yeah, it might be right. I'm not saying it's wrong. We could be just forgetting something super obvious here. We could ask. No, we couldn't ask that. I was gonna say we could ask if it was critically well received.
Maybe it's no, it couldn't be. I was gonna say maybe it's the Michael Jackson game, but it couldn't be that.
Moonwalker?
No, the Michael Jackson, The Experience. I think the one that came out after he died.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think it was based on the Just Dance franchise, wasn't it?
Well, maybe it was similar. I didn't play it.
No,
all I remember about that game is that it had copy protection.
Oh, dude!
If it detected that you were running a pirated copy, it would put the sound of vuvuzelas over all the music.
It could be Dance Dance Revolution.
Oh,
it's technically licensed.
That is technically a licensed game.
Yeah, because it's got shitloads of licensed stuff in it. So it's a music. This is based on music.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I want to ask that question because that's pretty specific. What we could ask is,
and it wouldn't be Guitar Hero because that's post 360.
Yeah,
it could be Dance Dance Revolution.
Yeah, that was huge during that era.
Yeah.
I mean, I could ask: is music a significant part of this game or something?
It's gonna say yes because all games have music in them. That's such a vague question. It's not going to parse what you're meaning.
True. Is dancing a part of this game?
Yeah,
that's pretty specific.
Yeah, is dancing part of the game? You might as well.
Let's rule it out.
God,
just in case I nailed it.
If it says yes, which fucking version of DDR is it going to be? There's so many.
That's true. I would have to assume it's the first. Oh, you know what? Hold on. We could ask if it's part of a. Well, we know it's a license, but we could ask if it's part of a series or franchise. But no, let's ask if there's.
Ask if there's dancing. Does the game involve dancing?
No, damn it.
It was a good guess.
Yeah,
that was a good angle to approach it from. We're 9 questions in.
Where do we go from here?
I mean, is it going to be like last time and it considers a sport to be a license?
Maybe.
Because the term license...
We did say WWF No Mercy was technically a license.
Yeah,
game.
I mean...
Should we ask if this is a sports game?
Yeah, might as well.
Generic.
Either way, it'll narrow it down.
It is a sports game.
Okay.
So we need to narrow down what the sport is somehow.
Oh, Jesus.
It could be a wrestling game.
Could be a wrestling game. Could be
football,
could be basketball, could be hockey, could be soccer.
There is no way in hell that this is going to be like Madden 04 or some shit like that. There's no way they would do that. It would just not be fun. They I have to assume that there's like a list that they pull
that a person is choosing.
Yeah,
I would hope. But
So I
then
mean,
again, like any sports game is generally a yearly release, so
and
it's
was this the EA Sports Big era?
it was.
We could ask: is this game developed by EA?
Yeah, that would still leave a lot, but at least we'd know.
Where to go?
Like I said, man, you will never not talk about EA Sports Big.
Yeah.
It'll always come up. I respect it.
All right. Is
I
this game
respect it.
developed by Electronic Arts? Yep, it is. Okay. So it could be any of the.
Could
Well,
be
let's think about what licenses they had back then. They didn't have MLB. They had NHL. They had Madden. They had NBA.
and
They didn't have UFC back then.
no, they did have NFL and they had NCAA,
NFL.
the college league.
Yeah. So shoot. Trying to think about how to.
FIFA.
Shit.
There's a lot of FIFA games.
Yeah, we need to know what sport this is. Oh, it could be a racing game too. That's
Oh.
probably more likely. My cat did not like you doing that.
Uh-oh.
He was sleeping and he woke up and he's like,
Is there another cat around here?
"Yeah, it was
What
weird."
what racing licenses did EA have?
Did they have Need for Speed? Yeah, they had Need for Speed.
Ooh, because you know what? Did the cat go crazy again?
That's the sound
I'm
again.
sorry. I'm sorry, kitty cat.
He's fine. He's fine. He went back.
Because Need for Speed is actually the original game was endorsed by Road and Track magazine. So it's technically a license, and it has all those cars in it, which are
Oh wait,
licensed.
yeah. Okay, let's ask if it's a racing game, just to
Sure.
narrow it down. It's not a racing game.
Okay.
Okay, so it's definitely a sport. EA did not do any wrestling games.
Nope. They didn't do any skateboarding games until later.
I'm really hoping this is an arcade sports game because that would narrow it down to like NBA, NBA Street, SSX. Oh, it could be a snowboarding game.
Yeah, but is that really a license? Because it's not like there's a snowboarding league.
Oh yeah, the SSX isn't.
It's an original IP.
Okay, why don't we do this? We could ask all of the major sports in one question. So we could say, is this an NFL, NHL, FIFA, or what other one am I missing?
I mean, but
NBA.
I think we kind of already know that it's gonna be.
I don't know if I want to assume or not.
I think
I mean,
it's an
you're
EA.
right, though.
It's an EA sport game,
Oh,
and it's a license.
PGA.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Forgot about PGA.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, is this a team sports game? We could ask.
That's a good question.
Is it though? That only eliminates golf.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're 12 questions in. That's a tricky one.
I know. I'm trying to figure out how would you eliminate. Oh, does this sport involve a ball?
But they all do.
Hockey doesn't.
Oh, so we eliminate one. How about
Yeah.
how about is this game played at the college level? Because that will tell us whether it is or is not basketball or football.
Would it know that though?
If it's one of the NCAA games, it probably would.
Is this a college sports game?
No. Is this sport played in college? You don't think so?
No, that's too vague for
maybe,
AI. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
The implication is hard to make sure it gets across. I think is this a college sports game? Would
that only rule out
not...
that only rule out the college football and college basketball games though?
Was there a college basketball game?
Yes. When I was looking through lists, I came across there are NCAA both football and basketball games, and they are not readily apparent by the names because they're both just NCAA.
Okay, we only have 7 questions and a guess. So I think we need to take shots in the dark here and just be like, is this a basketball game?
Sure.
Is this a hockey game?
At this point, it's probably the best choice.
Because if we don't nail it, then we're not gonna
never gonna
get there. So I would say simply because, well, I'm trying to think of the ones that had arcade games and simulation games. So NBA. Wait, what did they have any NBA? What was their NBA series called? Did they even have one back then?
Yeah, they must have. They must.
Do they even have one? Wait, do they even have one now? I don't think they do.
Nowadays, 2K has the NBA games.
Oh, did EA do NBA Live?
I think they did. Let me look that up. Yes, NBA Live. Oh, they still have an NBA Live. Well, as recently as 2018. Huh.
Okay, let's think about the sports that has an arcade and a simulation, because then that'll be we'll have more luck, I think, if we get those. Ones. So PGA doesn't; it just has simulation, from an EA standpoint, anyway. Football's got. I don't think they made Blitz, did they? No. Who made Blitz and Hits and all that shit?
Midway and EA. Shit.
Okay. There was no soccer. There was no FIFA Street.
I don't think so.
So let's go with either hockey, Madden, or NBA. I say we go with NBA to start.
Okay.
That would be my suggestion.
So how do you want to phrase that?
Is this a basketball game?
Yeah. Okay. Just is it a basketball game? Sure. Yeah. Go for it.
It's not a basketball game. Okay. So let's either ask if it's a football game or a hockey game.
Yeah.
I'm going to say hockey, because if it's NFL, we're fucked.
Yeah, God. Oh, Jesus.
Is this a hockey game? No, it's not. Shit.
Oh, no.
All right, is this a football game?
Yeah. Oh, we're doomed.
So we have 4 questions and a guess to figure out what football game they made. And you said NFL Blitz was an EA game?
Yep. According to this, it hold on a second. EA, following the dissolution of Midway, EA Sports acquired the rights to the Blitz name.
Oh, shit.
Oh, okay. But that relaunched the series on PlayStation Network and Xbox Live, so it won't be Blitz because that was after 2005.
Okay, so it's got to be the Madden series then.
It's got to be the Madden series.
Oh, we're still fucked.
Well, hold on. We might not be as fucked as you think.
We have Madden 2000, Madden 2001, Madden 2002, Madden 2003,
Madden 2004. We have 6 Madden games that it could be.
Yeah, and there's no way to narrow it down without guessing the game.
Well,
if this game released in 2002, then we know it's a 2003 game.
Hold on a second. We could get weird with this. We could say, did this game release in a year that is divisible by 2? Because then it couldn't be 2003 or 2005. You know what I mean?
I mean, we could specifically ask, did this game originally release in the year 2000, 2002, 2004?
But if we ask if the year is divisible by 2, we'll be cutting out half of the year.
But this is AI, though. Well, I don't know if it would understand.
Oh, come on. It's a computer. It can do math.
Oh, I know it can do math, but like, think about that question for a second. Is the title of this game divisible by 2?
No. Is the year that this game released in divisible by 2?
I mean, technically every number is divisible by 2.
Okay, evenly divisible by 2.
Oh, it's too complicated, man.
Like I'm trying to think outside the box, man.
Remember, these are only yes or no questions.
I mean, that is a yes or no question.
We could probably go. Yeah, so we have 6 years to eliminate. Well, hold on. Should we ask? Is this from the Madden series? should we do that just to make sure? Because you said that there was a college.
Yeah, there is a college league. Ask if it's John Madden license, whatever.
It's not a Madden game.
Oh, that narrows it down.
So that's is it NCAA? NCAA? Is that what the
Yeah, so let me NCAA.
Technically you're cheating by looking all this shit up, but we're
Well,
never gonna get it.
I gotta know what the title is.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole point. Is you're supposed to know it.
No, but I like the thing is that I could put an NCAA championship, but like, is that like that's like the real world championship? I want to know what the name of the franchise of the EA games are.
All right.
I gotta.
I have to assume it's just NCAA football 2001, 2002, 2003.
Let me go to where I got this list from. PS2. Yeah, okay, so there's Jesus Christ. So there's a whole bunch of them, dude. There's NCAA football, but there's also NCAA Final Four. That's a basketball game, though.
Okay, so we should just ask: is this game from the NCAA football series?
There's also NCAA Game Breaker, which is also a football game.
But is that EA though?
Yes, it is. And there's also NCAA March Madness. That's a basketball game.
Okay, so that's basketball.
So it. Oh God. It
could be. Doesn't that only mean that it's got to be NCAA Game Breaker
or football?
Shit. Okay.
Because there's a Game Breaker game for 2001, 2003, and 2004, and then there's an NCAA football game for 2002, 2003, 2004.
You know what might fuck us here is I asked if it's a football game. I wonder if it thinks it's soccer.
Oh no, we can't be getting down that rabbit hole.
I know
that will take us to a dark place.
I will laugh my ass off if we get to the end and it's FIFA.
Christ.
All right, is this? We should ask: is this game from the NCAA football series?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we have three potentials. We have 2002, 2003, and 2004.
They only have three, eh?
Three that are pre-2005.
Now, those games released the year prior, right? That's usually what they do. So,
yes.
NCAA 2002.
Shit, so 2005 could be 2004. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So, we have two questions and a guess. So, we should be able to get it because we have to just eliminate 2 years. So, I can ask, did this game originally release in 2001? You said 2002, 3, and 4, right? Or is it 3, 4,
but
5?
That's going to leave us. We might want to split the difference.
Well, no, because if we have two questions and a guess. So if I get a no and a no, then we know the third one's the correct answer.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Yes.
Unless it's bullshitting us and it ends up being Game Breaker.
Or it's just
possible.
Yeah. Or it could be fucking Tony Hawk again. Who the fuck knows?
Okay, who knows? We'll find out shortly. Okay, so you said the names of the years of the names of the game
are 2002, 2003, 2004, and 2005.
2002, 2003, 2004, and 2005. So 4 games?
Yes, and of course, like you said, they came out the actual year before. So NCAA Football 2002 came out in 2001, and 2003 came out in 2002, and so on.
Yeah, there's no way to guarantee this. So unless we get a yes, so I'm just gonna have to ask: did it come out? Did this game originally release in 2001? If it's a no, 2002, and so on and so forth. All right, did this game originally release in 2001? No. Did this game originally release in 2002? No. So it's either 2004 or 2005. So we have to just take a guess.
Shit. Do you still have a coin? I'm gonna have to flip.
Well, wait a minute. What was our date that we asked?
The cutoff date.
November on or after November 22nd.
Oh no! What if 2006 came out before that? Oh
well,
no!
no, wait. It has to be 2004 because we said, did this game originally release on or after? Oh no, wait. Oh no, yeah, it still could be the 2004 game or the 2005 game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that didn't help us. So we just have to guess.
Oh god.
2004, 2005.
Oh no, wait. Okay. I got panicky for a moment because there's also an NCAA 2K3 college football game, but it's a Sega Sports game because apparently they're double dipping the licenses back then. I got really panicky for a moment.
All right, I'm gonna say let's go with 2005. NCAA football 2005.
Fuck it, let's do it.
We haven't. I mean,
there's no way to know. There's no way. It's either one or the other.
It's either one or the other, or we got completely fucked.
Or we got completely fucked. It's always possible.
All right, is this NCAA football 2005? Drum roll, please.
That's probably murder on people's ears. I'm gonna stop.
It's 2004.
Fuck. This is like when you got the last piece in Minesweeper, and you're like, I just gotta flip that coin, man.
Oh,
I told you we should have asked if the year was divisible by 2.
Oh, that's so funny.
That's close though.
Hey, for them picking a yearly football game.
Yeah,
I think we did pretty damn well.
Yeah, they gotta fucking not do that because
that's bullshit.
That's
also 2 sports games already, by the way.
Yeah,
let's off with the sports games, guys.
Yeah, well, there's so many of them. This is why this makes me think this maybe isn't picked by a person. Maybe it's just
the only other thing I can think of is that it just picks a random game from the IGN database.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Which there's like a billion games.
Of course.
Okay, well, I think we did fairly well, despite the.
It is 1:35 a.m.
Holy shit. Okay. Let's get to the outro then.
Let's get to the outro.
All right. So, if you need or want to reach us, I can be reached at TJ_the_Leo on Twitter/X. Where can you be reached, sir?
I can be reached on Twitter, which I will not call X because fuck that.
Yeah.
At Ninjas. AHNINJAS.
And as always, you can email in your questions to be featured on the show. Hopefully one day we will get one. We have not had one yet.
Just checking that mailbox.
Every day. co.op.podcasts@gmail.com. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Thank you once again for filling in for Bailstorm.
No problem. Happy to do it. Still managed to come in under 4 hours, though that game did eat up a chunk of time.
It did eat a yeah. The topic of the week was definitely the long one, but that's the way it should be.
Yep.
All right, this has been Press Pause, a gaming podcast, episode 6, and we are out.